lends some real credibility and credence to this sport.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Oh, yes, it does.
I actually think the competition maybe brought me down to take it down.
Oh, no. Nice to meet you, sir.
Wow, that was neat.
Bob, you're looking dapper in there.
Thank you. It's quite a facility we have here. Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm going to put it up here.
ESPN welcomes you back to the World Center of Racing, Daytona International Speedway. Next up, the FirstPlus Financial 200 ARCA race. Well, the bright Florida sunshine is beaming down on thousands of race fans who have gathered here for the continuance of Speed Weeks 99. Next up, 41 ARCA cars and drivers getting set to go for 200 miles. Hi, everyone. I'm Bob Jenkins. Welcome back to our continuing coverage. We've been here for more than a week. It was just about a week ago at this time that the Rob Dyson team rolled into victory lane behind me and won the Rolex 24. As a matter of fact, they won it for the second time in their career. And then on Wednesday, the track reopened for stock car portion of Speed Weeks, and Jeff Gordon won the pole for the 500 yesterday. Mike Skinner won the shootout earlier, challenged Mark Martin and the others, but Martin won the Bud shootout just a few moments ago and picked up the trophy in victory lane. Now we get set for some ARCA competition, and as we remember back, the big, let's see, what was I going to say? As we remember back, our top gun on the broadcast team got a real big break in his racing career back in the late 60s, right behind me at Victory Lane here at Daytona. Okay.
In 1969, I came to Daytona as a defending ARCA champion, but with never a victory in Daytona. I knew I needed that on my resume if I was going to go on and get that good ride in NASCAR racing. And folks, dreams do come true. In this very car in 1969, I won the FirstPlus Financial 200, went on to get me a NASCAR Winston Cup ride, and become one of the top guns in auto racing. You know, today we've seen one shootout. We're going to see another. They've got their guns loaded, and they're going to come out a-blazing.
They have experienced the pain and pleasure of racing. They have paid the price to earn the privilege of being called a winner. Now, in their biggest race on their biggest day, they're hoping their biggest benefit is knowing how and knowing when to make the move that takes them to victory lane. For guys like Mark Gibson, Bob Shack, and Andy Hillenberg, this is nothing new. Charging around Daytona, high speeds, tight packs, dodging traffic, winning races. Heck, some of these guys could probably do this with their eyes closed. Of course, if something goes wrong in front of them, they will be doing it with their eyes closed. Now, you'll get no argument that youth will show its power today, but experience and poise under pressure could be the keys to unlocking victory lane for one of these cagey veterans.
A group of young guns has assembled at the Big D to shoot for the stars. They might only have cap pistol experience, but they become shotguns from pure desire. Quality equipment provides plenty of ammunition. The weapons are loaded. The sights are calibrated. The question is, can they hit the target of Daytona's victory lane? Folks, it's Joe Ruttman and Andy Hillenberg that are the only two top guns that have ever won this race of the drivers entered in this field. So which of the young guns has a real shot? Well, I thought it was going to be Josh Baltus. He had probably the fastest car in practice, but he wrecked his primary car, and I'm trying to go around there. So he wrecked his primary car, and therefore He had to go to a backup, so he may not be a factor today. But Shauna Robinson and Shane Yoder are two other drivers that we've got to keep our eye on. They've got the equipment that could do it. No, Doug, you're not there yet. And I'm going to talk about somebody else, and then I'm going to say, but Matt Hutter is the guy, and then you go in and see him right there, and that's going to be 30 seconds long.
In last November's ARCA finale in Atlanta, two second-generation drivers put on an impressive performance as they battled to the wire for the win. Today, the learning curve gets steeper for these fresh faces with familiar names as Bobby Hamilton Jr. and Mike Swain Jr. continue to follow in the footsteps of their famous fathers. Ironically, this marks the 20th anniversary of the day here in Daytona that another famous son began to shine. Hello, everyone. I'm Jerry Punch, and we're certainly glad you could join us today. The anniversary that I spoke about a moment ago, 1979, and my colleague Kyle Petty was a major part. Kyle, your first super speedway start, what a day that was. He'll answer the question, and I'll say, Kyle, you were 18 years old that day. How savvy were you to what was about to happen to you on this super speedway? He'll comment on that, and then well, the field lined up on pit road as we go down for the command for the four most famous words in motorsports.
200, please welcome the star of the 1996 Pro Bowl and still the quarterback of the Washington Redskins,
Okay, we don't have a title card, right? Okay. Okay. I'm sorry. I got you. Okay. Why don't we do that again? Let me back. No. Just coming out of that. Yes, sir. Yeah. Driver, start your engine. ESPN Speedway continues our unprecedented live coverage from the World Center of Racing, Daytona International Speedway. It's the ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Series, 36th running of the FirstPlus Financial 200. When we come back, we'll take a look at the starting lineup and wave the green flag for the very first of 20 events in 1999 for the ARCA Stars. Thank you very much. Anybody seen Kyle? Tall. Oh, is he? Okay.
Yes, Neil, old buddy. Yeah. Not very long. Probably okay.
Am I in your spot?
Bob will do the billboards.
So
Okay, good.
They need this spot. I've already done my stuff. So.
Yeah, I have. Bob has copy, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, as soon as they do the opening.
Okay.
Shot today,
Now,
not just because Hyde there.
Does he do the race analysis? Okay. All right. Sounds like a... Starting grid is not
Hi,
sponsored.
this is Ray, and I'm on
correct?
pit road, and I'm talking to try to give Mikey a level. So is that okay? What's that? Okay, and the engines are fired down here, and everything's ready to go. Josh Baltus in the number 18 car had the fastest car.
I should put my jacket on here pretty soon. Oh, we got a little time yet.
Oh, yeah. Now I can take me a nap.
Well, you and me both, PP. Okay.
Welcome back to the World Center of Racing, Daytona International Speedway. Next up, the FirstPlus Financial ARCA 200. The bright Florida sun beams down on thousands of race fans who have gathered here for the continuation of Speed Weeks 99. And now 41 ARCA cars and drivers are getting set to go 200 miles. Hi, everybody. I'm Bob Jenkins. We welcome you back to Daytona. Earlier today, we saw Mike Skinner win the qualifier. Now we're set to go for the ARCA race. And, you know, we've been here for more than a week. It was just about a week ago that the Rolex 24 ended with the Rob Dyson team in victory lane. Jeff Gordon won the pole for the 500 yesterday. And Mark Martin beat everyone in the Bud Shootout today, including Mike Skinner, to win his first race ever at Daytona. Mark became the first top dog of NASCAR in 1999. And as we think back over the history of this ARCA race, which started back in 1960 more, we can think of another top dog. It's the story about a young man who was born in the Carolinas, reared in Detroit, Michigan, who headed south with not a great deal of money, but the hope and determination to join the elite of racing. And now he's become a top of our broadcast team, and he got his big break at the World Center of Racing.
In 1969, I came to Daytona as a defending ARCA champion, but with never a victory in Daytona. I knew I needed that on my resume if I was going to go on and get that good ride in NASCAR racing. And folks, dreams do come true. In this very car in 1969, I won the FirstPlus Financial 200, went on to get me a NASCAR Winter Cup ride, and become one of the top guns in auto racing. You know, today we've seen one shootout. We're going to see another. They've got their guns loaded, and they're going to come out blazing.
They have experienced the pain and pleasure of racing. They have paid the price to earn the privilege of being called a winner. Now, in their biggest race on their biggest day, they're hoping their biggest benefit is knowing how and knowing when to make the move that takes them to victory lane. For guys like Mark Gibson and Bob Shack and Andy Hillenberg, this is nothing new. Charging around Daytona, high speeds, tight packs, dodging traffic, winning races. Heck, some of these guys could probably do this with their eyes closed. If something goes wrong in front of them, they will be doing it with their eyes closed. Now, there's no argument that youth will show its power today, but experience and poise under pressure could be what sends one of these top guns to victory lane.
A group of young guns has assembled at the Big D to shoot for the stars. They might only have cap pistol experience, but they become shotguns from pure desire. Quality equipment provides plenty of ammunition. The weapons are loaded. The sights are calibrated. The question is, can they hit the target of Daytona's victory lane? Back here in rows 4 and 3, there are some of the true young guns of ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Racing. Take Shane Yoder, for example, making just his second start on a super speedway. He's truly a rookie here at Daytona. And how about Shauna Robinson driving the Bob Evans #1 car? This is a car that's very capable of winning the race today, no question about it. Shauna, also a true rookie here at Daytona. And how about Josh Baltus next door right here in car number 18? He had what may have been the fastest car in practice, but destroyed his primary car and is now in a backup. But the big gun on the front row is Matt Hutter. Yeah, he's a young gun, but he very likely could win today. Not because he's on the pole, not because he's got new sponsorship from Duralube, but because last October he finished second to Tim Steele at Talladega Super Speedway, and I believe the experience he gained that day could pay off today in Daytona.
In last last November's ARCA finale in Atlanta, two second-generation drivers put on an impressive performance as they battled to the wire for the win. Today, the learning curve gets steeper for these fresh faces with familiar names as Bobby Hamilton Jr. and Mike Swain Jr. continue to follow in the footsteps of their famous fathers. Ironically, this marks the 20th anniversary of the day here in Daytona that another famous son began to shine. And hello, everyone. I'm Jerry Punch, along with Kyle Petty. Glad to have you with us. And what we're referring to was 20 years ago, 1979. And this famous son had a very special day. I remember that day, Kyle, because I was in Victory Lane waiting on you.
I probably should remember it better than I do, but it seems like all a blur. We got ready to come down here. We came and tested, had a great test, came back, and God was looking after us that day. We won the race. How, I don't know. My father went on to win the 500 that year. My grandfather won the golf tournament over here. It was a big year for Petty down here.
You were 18 years old that day. How savvy were you as to what was going to happen on the racetrack?
Oh, not a clue. Not a clue. I'll be honest with you. There is no savvy at 18, man. You're just having a good time, and that's what I said. I'm so excited about Adam coming up this year doing stuff. It's probably added 10 or 15 years to my career. I know that win had to add 10 years to my father's.
Well, you overcame that challenge that day, and some young guns are looking for a challenge today as we go down where Washington Redskins quarterback Gus Farad will give the command.
Compared to what we've seen in the past, we've got a lot of good cars, and we've got some pretty good experienced drivers, so I think you'll see a good race today.
ESPN Speed World welcomes you to our live coverage of Speed Weeks 1999 here at the World Center of Racing, Daytona International Speedway. Today, the 36th running of the FirstPlus Financial 200. When we come back, we'll take a look at a 41-car starting lineup and wave the green flag on stop number 1 of a 20-race, $3 million tour.
I know that feeling. It's hard to believe it's just started and you already need it now. By the time you're here the second day.
I know. Did you hand me that sport coat back there? I got a jacket that was hanging right here, please, if you don't mind.
When you're 18, you don't need anything. Believe me.
I remember
That's it.
Farad.
Binoculars, and I'm not sure I could pick him out of a crowd.
See those two deputies standing around him? Much more protection than he got all year with the Redskins. Oh, my heavens. Yeah.
Doesn't everybody that doesn't win the Super Bowl?
How
what
about
a cruel
that?
world it is, man.
Gosh.
You know what I mean? If you don't produce, if you don't win 90% of what, here's what kills me. If you play football and you don't win 90% of your games, you get fired as a coach, fired as a quarterback, and your life's limited as a running back or a receiver. If you play baseball and hit 30% of all the balls thrown at you, you're a god.
How about that?
You know what I mean?
300 and above, you go in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, you're a god. You know what I mean? And if you don't do 90 and above in football,
okay. Let me put this.
we need to put them on.
I'm just putting mine on so I can dress up this cable behind me.
You can put it under your coat?
I'm going to put it over it. I thought I was putting it over it. But, well, all those years you were known as the King's son. Now you're known as Adam's daddy, huh?
Yep. Going through that transition period in my life.
That's right.
Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah. I wondered which car she was in. I didn't.
Yeah, the
Okay.
Bob Evans car. 66 is Mark Thompson's car with Shane Yoder, a rookie.
Okay.
Only his second ever start on asphalt.
Here's race car. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah. I know, and 95 is Hamilton. Yeah.
Right.
gas pump the other day. He was standing there and they were filling it up, and I was talking to him, and I saw his name on the door, and I said, "You're driving this thing?" He said, "Yeah." All right, man. I mean, it just kind of caught me off guard.
Who's that?
Rutman.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Same old crowd he always drove them cars for. That.
Yeah, Ruler Brothers,
or
yeah.
whatever.
Said that Jim Danby's pretty good stuff. He said it's a little chewy, but it's great keeping the tartar off your teeth.
When's your big appearance tonight?
With Adam and the King and all of them. Adam's deal tonight. They just do the same thing they did last year. They're just going to unveil his car and do. We've already done it with the press, you know, and everybody's seen it. But it does a big deal for them. That's one of their big retailers. So they do it at a. They have at a local Winn-Dixie or Food Line or something like that. I told them, I said, you know, you run and you get jaded to all that stuff. You get jaded to doing interviews. It's just second nature. But being around Adam, it's all new to him. Even though he's grown up with it, it's all new. So if somebody calls up and says, "Hey, we're going to kill some pigs, and we're going to make a media event out of it. You want to come?" "Oh, hell yeah, I'll be there. I'm there." You know what I mean? Put me on the list. I mean, he just gets excited when you got a 200-watt AM station that calls up and wants to do an interview, then he sets his clock by it to do it. And coming to the racetrack, I've been testing with him all winter. And that's what I was saying. It'll add 10 years to your career because you just get pumped up about it. You know what I mean? Just get.
Good for him. Good for him.
He's funny. Yeah, I told him, I said, I don't care whose kid he is. I'm telling you, he's pretty intense and pretty focused and pretty.
Do you know
whose kid he is?
Yeah.
No, it couldn't be mine. I keep telling him, I said, "Where'd you come from?" He's having some trouble with some stuff going on at the shop. And I said, "Let me tell you, I'll come take care of it." And he said, "No, I'm going to handle it." And he come back, and I said, "Everything fine?" He said, "I had to fire one guy, but everything's good." I said, wait a minute. "You didn't fire him?" "No, I didn't fire him, but he's on probation for a month." And I said, "Okay, man." And you walk in over there and talk to these guys, and they're like, they wait for him to come. And you know what I mean? He just the driving school, the driving experience. Yeah, he is PE2 now. That's what that team is.
Oh, really?
I took all the Winston Cup stuff out. I took all my Winston Cup stuff. I was going to do a deal with Tad with the 59 car and do a 2-car team. But the more we got into the financial side of it, I already had gears, I already had transmissions at PE2. I had a bunch of stuff. There was never going to be a day when it was cheaper for me to start another team or start a Bush team since I was moving all my stuff. So we went in and took back to Level Cross and left everything there and then just moved everything to the driving school. So it's been a good deal for us. He's done really well over there.
Good.
Yeah, we had to build. Yeah, I've spent more time. That's what I told him. I spent as much time at his place as I have at ours, but we got 5 cars right now. Only going to bought one from Dale Jarrett, one of his old cars, and some other stuff. Since Jason went somewhere else,
Yeah, he went
that freed up a couple of cars there. Just as a backup for down here, backup Speedway stuff.
Good.
Yeah, we got Monte Carlos. I got Monte Carlos and Pontiacs, and they're screaming. I said, "Look, for what you guys want to do and the way it works, it's not worth my while to go either way. So I'm going to run whatever I think's best for him at different places." And I promised the Pontiac guys we'd build a Pontiac and run at the Pontiac races at Richmond and the stuff where it's a big promotion for them. Other than that, I got Monte Carlos. Or he's got Monte Carlos. Yes, sir.
I am here for the duration. Just come and feed me now and then.
This way over here.
1, 2, 3. Welcome back to the World Center of Racing, Daytona International Speedway. Next up, the FirstPlus Financial ARCA 200. Welcome back to the World Center of Racing, Daytona International Speedway. Next up, the FirstPlus Financial ARCA 200. The bright Florida sun beams down on thousands of race fans who have gathered here at Speed Weeks 99. And now, 41 ARCA cars and drivers are getting set to go 200 miles. Hi, everyone. I'm Bob Jenkins. We welcome you back to our continuing coverage. Sit back, relax, and enjoy some racing for the next couple of hours from the ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde series. You know, we've been here for more than a week covering just about everything. It was about a week ago that Rob Dyson's team rolled into victory lane, winning the Rolex 24. Jeff Gordon won the pole for the 500 yesterday. And a few minutes ago, Mark Martin beat everyone in the Bud Shootout, including Mike Skinner, who won the Bud Shootout qualifier. Well, Mark becomes the first top dog of NASCAR in 1999. Now our thoughts turn to ARCA, and as we think back over the history of this event, the first of which was in 1964, we think of a young man born in North Carolina, reared in Detroit, who left the winter weather to head south to join racing's elite. Since then, he's become our top dog on the broadcast team, but his real big break in racing came right behind me at Victory Lane in Daytona.
In 1969, I came to Daytona as a defending ARCA champion, but with never a victory in Daytona. I knew I needed that on my resume if I was going to go on and get that good ride in NASCAR racing. And folks, dreams do come true. In this very car in 1969, I won the FirstPlus Financial 200, went on to get me a NASCAR Winter Cup ride, and become one of the top guns in auto racing. You know, today we've seen one shootout. We're going to see another. They've got their guns loaded, and they're going to come out blazing.
They have experienced the pain and pleasure of racing. They have paid the price to earn the privilege of being called a winner. Now, in their biggest race on their biggest day, they're hoping their biggest benefit is knowing how and knowing when to make the move that takes them to victory lane. For guys like Mark Gibson, Bob Shack, and Andy Hillenberg, this is nothing new. Charging around Daytona, high speeds, tight packs, dodging traffic, winning races. Heck, some of these guys could probably do this with their eyes closed. Of course, if something goes wrong in front of them, they will be doing it with their eyes closed. Now, there's no argument that youth will show its power here today, but experience and poise under pressure could be the keys that give these top guns their best shot at a trip to victory lane.
A group of young guns has assembled at the Big D to shoot for the stars. They might only have cap pistol experience, but they become shotguns from pure desire. Quality equipment provides plenty of ammunition. The weapons are loaded. The sights are calibrated. The question is, can they hit the target of Daytona's victory lane? Boy, there's some drivers that are nervous back here in row number 4 and row number 3. Take, for example, this guy, Shane Yoder, a dirt track ace from Ohio. He could win today. He's driving for Mark Thompson. And how about this car? Shauna Robinson driving for James Finch. James Finch has won this race as a car owner 3 times in his career. Shauna could do it today. There's another guy in this field that was awfully strong, and that's Josh Baltus right here in the number 18 car. He could have won, but he crashed in happy hour, and now he's in a backup car. But the one guy that's a young gun and he's a top gun all wrapped up in one is on the pole today, and that's Matt Hutter. Not just because he's got a new sponsor in Duraloop, not just because he's on the pole, but because last October he finished second to Tim Steele in the ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde series, and I think what he learned that day may help him win the first big stock car race of 1999.
In last November's ARCA finale in Atlanta, 2 second-generation drivers put on an impressive performance as they battled to the wire for the win. Today, the learning curve gets steeper for these fresh faces with familiar names as Bobby Hamilton Jr. and Mike Swain Jr. continue to follow in the footsteps of their famous fathers. Ironically, this marks the 20th anniversary of the day here in Daytona that another famous son began to shine. Hello, everyone. I'm Jerry Punch along with Kyle Petty. Glad you could join us. And, Kyle, I remember that day because I was in Victory Lane in 1979 waiting on you. What a special day.
It was a special day. Do I remember it? No, I was 18. I had a blast out there. But I do remember that we came down here in January, tested. I ran pretty good. Daddy said, let's go back and race. I got to go back and race. I won the ARCA race. He won the 500. My grandfather won the golf tournament over here. It was a big week for the Petties down here.
Now, you mentioned you were 18 years old. How savvy were you that day as to what was about to happen on the racetrack?
Savvy's not even a word that was in my vocabulary. At 18 years old, let me just tell you that, I didn't have a clue. They turned me loose on a racetrack where you could go out here and run 180, 190 miles an hour, had brand new Goodyear Eagles. They had just repaved the racetrack. It stuck everywhere. I passed on the apron. I passed on the high side. God was looking after me that day. I was very, very blessed, and I've gone on to have a fairly successful career since then, so this was a good springboard for me.
Indeed, you've done well. You met the challenge that day, and some young drivers are waiting to meet the challenge today. Right now, let's go down to the grid where Washington Redskins quarterback Gus Frerotte will give the command.
To give the command to start engines, please welcome the Grand Marshal of the FirstPlus Financial 200. From the Washington Redskins, quarterback Gus Frerotte.
Shauna and gentlemen, start your engines.
ESPN Speed World welcomes you back to our continuing live coverage from right here at the World Center of Racing, Daytona International Speedway. Today, it's the 36th running of the FirstPlus Financial 200. When we come back, we'll take a look at the starting lineup and wave the green flag on stop number 1 of a $3 million 20-race tour. Back in just a moment.
Hey, Benny.
Yeah.
That was a cool piece at first.
It was nice.
That was the car?
Yeah.
That's
Some
cool.
guy in Orlando owns the car.
That's amazing.
Yep.
That's a neat deal.
That's a huge deal there.
Yeah, it is.
Good lineup there.
I get you to back up just a notch, and I'll back up a skosh here so we can see that in the monitor. I don't want to crush you.
Jersey, we saved you again, man.
No, I didn't say it.
I know. I don't know.
I didn't
We
say it.
saved you again.
Because he said Shauna and gentlemen.
Yeah.
See? Okay.
Okay.
I noted. I just noted.
I appreciate that, BB.
Show me the analysis, if you can, very quickly. Thank you, Mikey. Race analysis, please. Remember, I don't have ISO down here. Oh, boy.
No, you won't nice though.
What? Spoiled.
That's all right.
You know how some drivers get shuffled back in a draft? Old Bob is getting shuffled back in the broadcast order.
Yeah. Yeah, he...
Here we go. Here we go.
ESPN Speed World coverage of the FirstPlus Financial ARCA 200 from Daytona, being brought to you by the more than 2,500 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. The field has just moved away from pit road. They're now going down the backstretch, getting warmed up for their 200 miles of competition. That is 80 laps. They're going for a purse that exceeds $250,000. The qualifying record over 200 miles an hour without restriction. The race record is 153.224. Now let's go upstairs and get the call of the race from Kyle Petty, Benny Parsons, and our anchor, Dr. Jerry Punch.
Thank you very much, Bob. 41 cars on the racetrack to begin a 1999 season for the ARCA cars. And let's take a look at our starting lineup. 27-year-old Matt Hunter makes his first ever ARCA start here from the pole. Back in row 2. 19-time ARCA winner Bob Shack, a veteran up front. Watch for him to make a move early on. And back in row 3, take a look at Shauna Robinson, 34-year-old mother of 2. Her first ARCA start in the Bob Evans Restaurant Chevrolet. And beside her, Josh Baltus, who was the fastest car in practice, going to a backup car after he wrecked the car early yesterday morning. He will start shotgun on the field. There's two-time ARCA winner here at Daytona, Andy Hillenburg, the 1995 Series champion, alongside the rookie, Sean Yoder.
see Glenn Morgan, Dan Pardis, local boy, Daytona Beach resident, Dan Pardis.
And as we take a look at the rest of the starting lineup, Kyle, there are the youngsters we were talking about, a couple of second-generation drivers who probably, like you, don't have any idea what really they're going to face today.
I tell you what, the one thing they do have is they have their fathers who they've been able to learn from over the last year, over the last 2 years. I know Bobby Hamilton Jr. has tested at Talladega. Mike Swaim's run at Talladega. They've run some other racetracks. They've won at other racetracks. They're good race car drivers. They're using this as a springboard. A couple of those guys, Bobby Jr. is going to run the Busch Series this year. He's got a Busch ride. So they're using this as a springboard to get a leg up on this week.
And Mike Swaim Jr., probably not as well known as Bobby Hamilton, Mike Swaim Sr., but he is a spotter for Ward Burton and has been ever since Ward Burton has been in NASCAR Winston Cup races, so he has seen hundreds of these Winston Cup races. He certainly knows how to tell the young men how to get around the racetrack.
You just saw Bill Barrett a moment ago. He was last year's pole sitter and, of course, won the Rookie of the Year award in ARCA in 1998. He destroyed a car in practice here on Thursday. He had to go to a backup car, and thus he starts back in the pack. We'll watch for him to make a move early on. And there is Frank Kimmel inside of row 19, the 1998 ARCA Series national champion. Boy, what a scary afternoon he had in qualifying here on Thursday. Slapped the wall, was unconscious, taken to Halifax Medical Center. A lot of concern. He is okay physically, had a concussion, but the word has been he may only run a few laps.
Well, I was really surprised that he decided to start the car at all. Yesterday morning when I talked to him, he had made up his mind that he was going to skip this race and get ready for Atlanta in the middle of March. But I guess overnight he decided he was afraid to give away those points. He will start the race, but as you said, early on he probably will put Bob Hill in the drive.
Former ARCA veteran getting in the car probably just before the 10-lap mark. When we come back, we'll show you the guys we're going to be and girls we're going to be riding along with today. A lot of in-car cameras for a lot of action from right here at Daytona in just a moment.
How many years y'all been doing this down here?
I think they're going to start here this way.
These two main what?
Use the same 2x4s every year to prop the stuff up? Looks like after 4 or 5 years you get something besides 2x4s. That's the best you've ever had. Good.
Yeah. Well, this year we got them treated.
Okay, I'm with you.
We're up to treated lumber. Okay, all right.
The car that Kimmel wrecked was a car they bought from us.
Right.
Yeah. Just a month or so ago.
I got you.
You're trying not to block my view.
Oh, sorry.
What is Hill? He's a fabricator for Felix.
Back at Daytona International Speedway, you're looking at Bob Hill, a 44-year-old driver who was a former regular in ARCA competition. And now will substitute for Frank Kimmel because of this in qualifying on Thursday. Kimmel smacked the outside wall with the driver's side of the car, was unconscious in the car as the car came to a rest. Ambulance crews on the scene immediately to extricate the driver. That's the left side damage on the Advanced Auto Chevrolet. And now he has made it back from the hospital, is okay physically, but had the concussion. Therefore, he will start the car. Talking about Frank Kimmel, the 1998 ARCA Series champion. And but he will get out early on. There's Bill Baird. We'll have a roof camera on the Valvoline Chevrolet for last year's Rookie of the Year.
Andy Belmont, the America Online onboard camera. Ron Barfield, Dick Daddy's barbecue sauce. We'll be riding with Ron today. Shane Yoder, the Midway Island onboard camera on his Ford today. Shauna Robinson, from the Bob Evans Restaurants onboard camera.
And on the front row, Bobby Gerhardt from Lebanon, Pennsylvania. Longtime ARCA veteran looking for his first ever victory. And, of course, our pole sitter, 27-year-old Matt Hutter. Yes, he is the son of Ron Hutter, noted engine builder for many, many years on the short tracks and super speedway, driving for Ed Rinsey.
The lights are out atop of the pace car. He'll be driving off onto pit road just a moment, and we'll be seeing the green flag wave and get this FirstPlus Financial 200 on the way.
A year ago, a rookie by the name of Bill Baird let him down. Now for the second consecutive year, an ARCA rookie at Daytona will lead him to the green flag as this tremendous crowd are on their feet, and the green flag waves. Almost a complete lap, Kyle Petty, for these cars to come up to full speed, so they will stay bunched up side by side as they entering turn 3. But where are you now in the speed curve?
You're just at the very bottom. You've about shifted back in the fourth, about halfway down the backstretch, and it'll drop into about 5,900, 6,000 RPM, and then it'll lug, and it'll take a whole nother lap for it to get up.
Oh, we got some trouble. Looks like Bob Strait has spun on the backstretch, and there's damage to the front of the car. And so far, no caution flag.
That's the Summit Ford for Bob Strait, driving for ARCA legend Jack Bowsher.
And we can see all the damage to the nose of the car. The nose of the car has gone down, hit the apron, and pushed it all up. What an ill-handled race car. He'll have the rest of the day.
Meanwhile, back up front, Matt Hutter trying to hold him off. Gerhardt next, then Gibson. There's Bobby Hamilton Jr., the 95 car, the back of that draft.
One thing at Talladega, Bobby Hamilton Jr. did really well the first part of the race. Talking to Bobby Sr., he wouldn't get in line, he wanted to pass, he wanted to run side by side. Here's a replay of the accident.
Oh, we see that he gets a little tap from behind, doesn't he? Around he goes, and watch when he comes down on the apron. There's all the damage to the nose of the car when the car hit the apron.
The track is 40 feet wide, but there's a transition from the 31-degree banking to the flat apron. Yeah, he did get a little tap from behind by the 73 car of Ed Curtis.
Check with Andy Belmont and see what he sees up in front of him. Mike Giacchetti. Carl Long in the 41 car. Oh, look at that. Man, oh man, I guess that's what started, really what started the wreck.
Yeah, evidently he saw it, checked up a little bit, then something happens, because that was just a dead turn left on somebody going into turn 3. Didn't know he was there.
Battle for third position. Here's the 5 car of Gerhardt on the inside and the rookie driver. Actually, Gerhardt has made the move. There is 66 Yoder and 59 Mark Gibson side by side. The Jana King Ford and the Midway Island Ford. That is for position, third spot.
Of Mike Dillard had to go to a backup car. He is in the pits. They're changing drivers, and Rick Shepard is now in that car.
And as you watch this action, I'll also mention that Josh Baltus did start the car of Jeff Streeter. They have come in and made a driver change in the 18 car as well. And here is Frank Kimmel coming in to climb out of that car as he heads toward you, Ray Dunlap.
Absolutely right, Jerry. 4 times in his career, Frank Kimmel has finished 6th right here at Daytona. They thought they had the car to win before Kimmel had that crash in qualifying. They're going to do the safe thing and get Frank out of the car. Now that he has taken the green flag, he is the driver of record, so he will get all the points today. Bob Hill is here just a substitute. They don't think they have a car that could win today, but they're hoping to get as many points as they can. Frank Kimmel climbs out of the car. Bob Hill gets in. They're going to strap him in. And we're going to try to get a word with Frank Kimmel here real quickly as the race continues. know this had to be one of the toughest things that Frank Kimmel has ever done. I know this is tough on you, buddy, but you're going to get the points, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, pretty uphill, Ray. I really feel pretty good. You know, I don't feel any adverse effects of the accident other than what the injury is to my head. Kimmel's hands are pretty hard, so we usually take a pretty good lick, but Bob Hill was gracious enough to step in, even though we're putting him a couple laps down here, but we'll make a few laps and get some points, and it's the best thing we can do for Advanced Auto Parts, and we're here to represent them the best way we can. We'll do better in Atlanta.
Well, enjoy the rest of the day the best you can. It's not worth taking the chance, folks. Frank Kimmel, the 1998 champion with 9 wins last year, steps out of the car.
And a year ago, he won the championship by a landslide. 700 points between he and Mark Gibson, who finished back in second spot. So they're not that concerned that if he has the kind of year he had a year ago, he'll still win it again.
Bobby Hamilton Jr. on the inside of the 95 car, the red and white car, and it's Joe Ruttman, the 39 car. Well, there's a lot of experience there in that 39 car. Hamilton Jr. could certainly learn something from him.
And Ruttman's done really well. Ruttman started back in 30th position or right along in there. He's drafted and used the draft, but he's been here a number of times, and he knows that technique. He knows when these guys get too wide how to suck up and get around them, and he's been able to use it to his advantage so far.
And there's the one car of Shauna Robinson. Her first ARCA start, 34-year-old mother of 2.
She looks back at Kirk Shelmerdine, who was a crew chief in Winston Cup racing for many, many years, decided he'd try his hand at driving and has been running the ARCA circuit.
Kirk won last year in the spring race in Atlanta. There's a look at the side of the Bob Evans machine, the James Finch-owned Chevrolet. There's a look out of her roof cam right in front of her.
That's Shane Doles. She is currently running in 11th spot. Shane is in 10th. Let's see. Never backing off the throttle. Running about 189, 190 going in turn 3. They'll slow down to probably 184, 185 as they come off the corner.
Car number 41 headed to the garage. That's Carl Love out of Roxborough, North Carolina, the Mansion Motorsports Chevrolet. And we are in the early laps here at Daytona. The very first race of the year for 1999 for the ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde cars. The 36th running of the FirstPlus Financial 200. The Duraloop Chevy is our leader. Daytona International Speedway here for the FirstPlus Financial ARCA 200 and a new leader, 40-year-old Bobby Gerhardt, the Kuwaitan Casinos Night Rider Chevrolet. Just a lap ago, able to make the move by the 83 car of Matt Hutter when he checked up for a slower car. There's a look at the car number 5 of Gerhardt, a former Jeff Gordon Winston Cup car, one of the early cars they built back when they started building in-house race cars.
And Matt Hurd looks behind him. There's no brake back there because Mark Gibson right on his back bumper. And right behind him is Dan Pardus and Mike Swain Jr. That's the top 5.
Gibson, the 59 car. Grew up in this area in New Smyrna Beach, Florida. Went to high school at Mainland High School in 1979. Graduate there just outside of turn 4 here down the road from the Speedway. So, boy, would he ever love to get a win here at Daytona. Had a victory last year at Texas, the year before at St. Louis. Has finished 2nd and 3rd here in this ARCA race, but never been to victory lane.
And you listen to the sound of the engine and realize they never back off the throttle as they go through the corners. There's the top 5, all in single line.
Danny Pardus, the 4th car in line, the white car there. He finished 3rd at Talladega. He's going to run for Winston Cup Rookie of the Year. Matt Hunter trying to make a run, Kyle, but not quite enough momentum.
Not quite enough. He's so close to him, and he really can't make that run. He almost needs to back up to Gibson there and get a good run coming off 2 and try to do something going in 3. Right now, you know, he got caught in traffic a minute ago. He had to check up a little bit. Gerhardt saw it, was looking far enough ahead. He saw it, made the move on him. Now he's leading the race, so we're going to run his pace for a while.
Is that a lack of experience move? I mean, Hunter's only run 1 ARCA race here, this one here, and 1 Busch race. He doesn't have a lot of super speedway experience.
You know, you can look at it as a lack of experience, but one thing is it's a lack of not racing against these same guys week in and week out. Once you know a guy's tendencies to either go high or low when you catch him, then you feel real confident that every time you catch him, he's going to do that. And it's just that type of deal. It's not so much an experience thing. Even though he's a young driver, Hunter's a young driver, it's not an experience thing as much as it is just inexperience with racing with these guys.
Oh, trouble. Look, 1 car on its side. Pardus is there. Spinning around is Mark Gibson. He gets tagged again. At least 5 cars are involved. Pardus down on the right side of your screen. The 42 car was running 3rd. Gibson, his car. There's Andy Hillenberg in the Stan Hoover car number 80. Some heavy damage in the front of that car. We'll show you Mark Gibson's car. There's the Jana King Ford. There's some flame there out of the vent, out of the fuel vent. Gibson's still sitting in the car, the window net down. That's a signal to the safety crews that he is awake and alert.
Well, if he's awake and alert, oh, look at the front end damage of that car. You know, Mark Gibson had a terrible, terrible lick at Talladega last year in one of the ARCA races, and Hillenberg's car will not roll. Oh, there's some smoke inside the car, and he's bailing out of that thing.
He gets out of Stan Hoover's Ford. Last year, Mike Chiquette.
Oh, and they're still crashing. Bob Kelly just now is going toward a safety car. The truck fortunately got out of the way. Man, oh man.
Bob Kelly in only his 2nd ever ARCA start. There is Mark Gibson, and he is not a happy camper. He is very, very upset.
And I can see him walking away because, as I said, he had a terrible, terrible lick at Talladega last October.
There's a Danny Pardus car just to the bottom of your screen there beside that yellow wrecker. That's the 42 car, Jim and Judy Gardner Motorsports. That's the young man who will run for Rookie of the Year in Winston Cup. Let's see if we can see what triggered this. Boy, Gibson up on his side, back down on all 4.
Look at Shane Dole's come. The yellow car on the inside is Shane. He's trying to spin through this deal. Meanwhile, Joe Ruttman goes in and hits the 59 car. Shane picks up some sheet metal.
Farther down the trial, well, there's Hillenberg in the 80 car with part of the front end of the Jim Dandy car crammed under it. That's why his car wouldn't go any further.
And what happens is Gibson just lost control and goes back across the racetrack right in front of Dan Pardus in the 42 car.
Wow.
Kind of just like a tire went flat or something.
It looked just like, if you remember back to the opening, Kimmel's accident, it looked the same way. It got a little bit out of shape, and when he corrected, it came back and shot straight across the racetrack. Pardus had nowhere to go and drove him up on his side.
Now, from the Jim Dandy in-car, let's see Joe Ruttman's viewpoint from this. got hit from behind by Shane Yoder. Spins around, and he will come into contact again. Okay, now from our blimp angle.
Watch Gibson, Kyle, as he comes off the corner, and all of a sudden the car just goes around a very slow spin.
And he corrects. And when he corrects, he comes back across, and he just gets drove up on his side. Great shot.
All the way up on its side. The car comes back down on all fours. Look at Shauna Robinson just make it by.
And Bobby Hamilton Jr., both of those did a great job of splitting. That could have been really bad.
Well, let's check in the garage. I think Bill is caught up with Andy Hillenburg. Bill?
Stopping him as he's walking down pit road. What did you see, Andy?
Oh, they just started wrecking up there. We really had a pretty good race car. I was really loose early in the run, and they just started wrecking, and I hit some debris or something, and I was on the binders pretty hard, flat side of the right side. Thought I made it through, and as soon as I got through, I think I must have cut a tire and spun down the grass, and never say die. We took off running, caught on fire, and guy said you bail out, so I did, and I saw him still wrecking, so that's a good thing I got an A in little Mr. Raymond's gym class in high school.
Thanks, Andy. Andy Hillenburg, he's okay, but he's out of the race for today. Managed to save the steering wheel, though, guys.
Wow, we were talking about the big guns. Well, some of the big guns just took a bullet here in the early laps of the FirstPlus Financial ARCA 200 at Daytona. ARCA action always exciting, and we're just getting started. Back with more in a moment.
How much damage does Yoder have the front of his car, do you suppose?
I've got 80, 59, 39, 42, 66, and 97. Anybody else, Benny, we're missing in that list? Hillenburg, Gibson, Ruttman,
53.
Pardis, 53. Oh, that's right, Kelly.
When they showed that one scene of the Hillenburg, was that Hamilton Jr. to the inside that ran all the way through the grass the whole way? His car may be damaged just from a valence point of view. You know what I mean? I couldn't tell whether that was him or not.
66, has he got any damage to the nose of his car? He's the guy around the back
He's
of
got
Ruttman.
it, but if you notice that one replay that they just showed a minute ago, too, I'm not so sure somebody didn't run into the left side of him, too, Benny, after he got past it.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell.
Yeah, you can't see.
Doesn't look like a lot of damage to...
Doesn't look like a lot to the nose.
No, it sure doesn't.
That's inexperience. You asked the question a minute ago about that up there.
Yeah.
That running into somebody when they start wrecking in front of you is a little bit of inexperience to be able to react to the speed.
40 car's got the right side jammed in.
Yeah.
Back at Daytona International Speedway, we are under caution in this race because of a multi-vehicle accident that occurred coming off corner number 4. We'll replay it here and show you exactly what happened. That is Mark Gibson getting sideways coming off of corner number 4, correcting going into the wall head-on. Dan Pardis hits him. That car on its side for a while, back on all fours, and you can see several other cars becoming involved. There were at least 6 vehicles involved in all, including Mark Gibson, Dan Pardis, Andy Hillenburg, and Bob Kelly. We have heard from Andy Hillenburg. We've seen some of the other drivers walk away, and so at this point we don't believe there were any injuries, but certainly a very grinding and scary crash on the 15th lap of this 80-lap ARCA 200 here at Daytona International Speedway. Well, we had multi-camera coverage of that incident, including from the Bud 1 airship, which is flying about 1,000 feet over Daytona International Speedway. The eye in the sky provided some great camera shots of that incident in corner number 4. Let's go back up top to Jerry Punch.
Well, thank you very much, Bob. Let's show the folks at home the list of drivers that we have that were involved in the incident here a moment ago. Of course, you saw Mark Gibson's car up on its side. Heavily damaged the 59 car of Gibson. Joe Ruttman's Jim Dandy car involved. Danny Pardis was involved. Shane Yoder, Andy Belmont, Shane Doles, Bob Kelly. Those are the cars that were involved. The most heavily damaged, again, Hillenberg, Gibson, Ruttman, and Danny Pardis. Shane Yoder continues. Belmont continues. Shane Doles continues. And Bob Kelly had some significant front-end damage.
Man, it's Joe Ruttman's car. Heavy damage in front of that car.
And he had come all the way from 19th starting spot to be running at about 6th in less than 15 laps.
He definitely had a car that could have won the race.
Joe Ruttman won this race back in 1982, and he was driving for the Rouleau brothers today, the same people he drove for when he finished 4th here just 4 years ago. But his day is over. After a grinding crash here at Daytona on lap 14, we await the green flag, which we'll have when we come back.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Must be Gibson. I don't know. You think if he was up on his side and buckled like that, maybe the air would have just sucked it out.
Okay.
They don't suck out as much as they used to. You know, they used to just, when you had the right side open, boom, they just pop out. It has to be Gibson's car.
Yeah.
He was the first guy into the wall and up on his side. We just never looked at it.
Yeah.
I never looked.
Back at Daytona International Speedway here, pit road is open now. They have cleaned up some of the debris coming out of turn 4. Bobby Gerhardt is our early leader. If you just joined us, we are under caution here for a grinding accident out of turn 4, which involved a total of 7 cars, some very minorly, but the most heavily damaged, those of Andy Hillenberg, Mark Gibson, Joe Ruttman, and Danny Pardis. Those were the 4 that were damaged the most heavily. Mike Swain Jr. on pit road, and Bill Weber is there.
And he's got plenty of company. Now, this is very interesting. Some crew chiefs believe they can go 60 laps on a tank of fuel here. Other guys aren't willing to take that chance. Most know they can't go that far. Maybe Mike Swain Jr. believes he can. At any rate, it's a full tank of gas for him, 4 Hoosier tires, and he'll head back out. And if they get the fuel mileage they need, he will be able to go the distance here with about 60 laps to go. Taking a long time, making sure they get the windshield clear. Just sitting on pit road now, and then slowly begins to ease away. So Mike Swain Jr. and several other drivers, including Bill Baird, on pit road for service now.
Kyle, I think they can run 60 laps here at Daytona with the restrictor plate engines. I think this is good strategy. This will probably be the only stop they make.
Yeah, this is great strategy for these guys. You know, if it's going to come down to these guys being in the race, winning and losing, this is it.
Take a look at a moment ago, this accident in turn 4. Benny, you're going to circle a windshield that came out of probably Mark Gibson's car, right at the top of your screen. Now, watch that.
Watch the windshield. And again, fortunately, these windshields are not made of glass. So it comes down in one piece rather than shattering all over the racetrack. We assume that came from Gibson's car. We really don't know. We assume that's where it came from.
You would think it would be Gibson or Pardis. Both those cars were backwards, and that was air getting inside the car. We don't see that much anymore, Kyle, but apparently the car was backwards enough to get some air to shove it out.
Yeah, it used to, before we started running the side windows and the roof flaps and everything that Gary Nelson and the NASCAR and the engineers have come up with over the last 4 or 5 years, that used to be the first thing to pop out. The car would get a little bit sideways, the car would fill up with air, boom, it'd blow the front glass out. And a lot of times it was glass, it was actual glass, and it would just shatter all over the racetrack. So this is a lot of things they've done have kept that from happening. I don't know why that one happened.
And, you know, we used to also see, as you mentioned before, the roof flaps and the fender skirts, the side skirts, the car would get sideways and get up and begin to tumble. That car stayed on its side and came back down on all fours and then slid along the racetrack. And I think that has a lot to do with some wind tunnel research.
That has tons to do with wind tunnel research. And everybody talks about the explosion of the sport and how popular the sport is. The sport's popular because of things like that. It's a safe sport. You see things like this happen, and everybody gets out of the car and walks away from it. So, you know, there's been so many technical advances over the last 5 or 6 years. Everybody talks about the stands and all this stuff, but what's going on in that garage area that affects Winston Cup, Busch, and the ARCA series and all the other NASCAR series is phenomenal.
I remember coming here in the early 70s and seeing a red farmer tumble end over end down through the tri-oval area in one of the Busch series events back then. Back then it was called Late Model Sportsman. And just imagine 4 or 5 years ago, Mark Gibson would have tumbled 7 or 8 times. Now he gets out of the car, walks away, and comes over and gives an interview. I mean, that's what has happened with safety in stock car racing in both NASCAR and the ARCA series. Still under caution for the first time today. Back with more in just a moment. Stay with me.
Huh? $22. Yeah.
That is this evening, isn't it? And not Sunday. It's this
Actually,
evening.
the 40 car stopped the lap before, but he had damage.
Okay, there it is. Now something. Now wait a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't have program in my left ear. I have interrupt okay, and I'll live with that. But my program channel is out.
Yeah, I didn't have program in my left ear either this morning with that pack you're using, Ray.
1 to go.
The FirstPlus Financial ARCA 200 here at Daytona remains under caution because of a 6-vehicle accident coming out of turn number 4. However, the drivers have been given the indication they'll go back racing in just about a half a lap. This evening, live at 6 o'clock Eastern Time, 3 Pacific on ABC Sports, it's the AFC-NFC Pro Bowl from Honolulu, Hawaii. Don't miss the NFL's best players, including Green Bay Packers defensive end Reggie White in his last Pro Bowl appearance. The Pro Bowl is at 6 o'clock Eastern Time tonight on ABC Sports. So the field gets set for a restart here, and we'll throw it back up to the booth and Jerry Punch.
Well, thank you, Bob. Under the caution continuing here at Daytona, we'll show you once again what happened on lap 14. The leaders involved coming out of turn 4. Some scary moments for the 59 car and others, but Mark Gibson in particular.
Mark just gets the car loose coming off the corner. As Kyle said, when he turns it back to the right to try to save it into the wall, he goes right in front of Danny Pardis. He plows him over, almost gets over and over, but he comes back on his wheels. Heavy damage to both Pardis and Mark Gibson, and several cars just barely able to get through.
Bobby Hamilton Jr. and Shauna Robinson both just barely getting by. Watch as these cars separate. You see some cars flash by, Kyle, and they just did get by Mark Gibson's spinning car right there.
Just barely got by, and you could see when it spun in. It is Mark Gibson's windshield that's disappeared from his car. The straps are sticking straight up. But as he comes off the car, gets a little bit loose, he corrects, boom, the car unloads to the left side, goes back across the racetrack. Pardis is there, no place to go. Pardis actually helps him here because he drives him up on his side, and then the car gets back down. But these guys behind them are trying to dodge and run over debris at the same time. They're cutting tires, they're spinning. They've got no place to go, just like Ruttman did.
All right, we saw some people pit, but the leaders did not come in, Bill Weber. Why?
Well, Jerry, they all talked about it, and then they decided to stay out. For instance, Bobby Gerhardt's crew decided to leave him out because his car is running so well. They didn't want to take a chance on him coming down pit road, making any changes, even putting the additional fuel in it at this point, because the car is running so well. As for Matt Hutter, they had thought about coming down pit road last time. Then they got the one to go, decided to stay out, then thought about coming down pit road this time. Again, they've decided to stay out. Now, the one thing about Hutter is that his car is running a little hot, so they're encouraging him to get in front of Gerhardt so he can get more air to the radiator and help cool his temperatures. But right now, the two lead cars staying out on the track. Let's go to Ray Dunlap.
Well, Bill, those guys up in the booth speculated a little bit about fuel mileage, and maybe this was a good idea to make that stop. It kind of depends on how long this caution goes. Most of the drivers told me they can go 45 laps without a problem. They can go 50 probably, and maybe 52, 53. But if we go green here real soon, they're probably not going to make it.
They would have to go, Ray, roughly 58, 59 laps under green, and I'm not sure that Bobby Hamilton Jr. and some of those guys could make it. The most I heard was around 50 laps under green, which means that may be another reason some of the guys up front didn't come in.
Look, it's a very good possibility. But again, I think that Mike Swain Jr. is going to try to make it the rest of the way. I would think that's why he stopped, because you would not want, he was running about third or fourth spot. You would not want to start at the end of that road if you were not going to gamble.
And the engine in his car actually is an R&D engine from Bill Davis Racing. It's from their Pontiac engine R&D program, so maybe they know something some of the other guys don't know.
And if nothing else, all they've got to do is splash and go at the end, where these other guys have got to dump 2 cans. And that's time in the pits, and that's time on the racetrack.
All right, Kyle Petty and Benny Parsons giving us expert analysis here at the booth. Back to Green Flag Racing at Daytona.
Jimmy Kitchen's a car, the brown car, the burgundy car on the outside that did not have a very good start. And Shauna Robinson able to get by, take over that third spot. There's Bobby Hamilton Jr. alongside Shane Yoder.
There they are side by side, a couple of young drivers.
And Ron Barfield behind Shane Yoder. In the yellow and red car is Ron Barfield. Cars move around.
You see the 66 bouncing in and out, bouncing in and out. That's one thing. We talked about him being a young driver and an inexperienced driver here. That's one thing you've got to get used to, is the buffering of the cars. As they come against each other and you close that air gap between you and another car, it wants to force you away like 2 magnets with opposite poles when you try to hold it against each other. And that's something you just got to learn about, and you've got to compensate for it.
95 car. That's the 21-year-old Bobby Hamilton Jr. The 66 car, 32 years of age, Shane Yoder, a dirt track ace from Ohio, making only his second ever start on asphalt. He ran at Michigan last June. Had a great run. He qualified third and finished 11th, but actually ran better than that finish indicates.
He finally cleared himself of the automobile and has now moved in that spot, moved ahead of Bobby Hamilton. All this from Big Daddy's Barbecue Sauce. Onboard camera of Ron Barfield. Meanwhile, there's the top 3 cars. Bobby Gerhardt, Matt Hutter, and Shauna Robinson.
You mentioned about Matt Hutter getting in behind Gerhardt and learning about these cars and about what these guys are going to do. He's basically going to school right now, right, Kyle?
Yeah, he's basically seeing where, you know, Gerhardt's car is the weakest, where Gerhardt's car is the strongest. Does it push up off the corner? Is it loose getting in? What he can do with it. There he is making a move on him right there. You know, Hutter run behind probably the best there is in ARCA, Tim Steele at Talladega for the whole race, it seems like. I'm sure he learned a lot there. And he's learning a lot here. And, you know, they said something earlier we were talking about. Maybe his car was running a little bit hot and he needs to get in front. They want to encourage him to get in front. You don't have to encourage a race car driver to get in front. He's going to put it in front if it'll go out front.
All right, the first pack flashes by. They are side by side for position. That's Mike Cicchetti in the 17 car. Kirk Shelmerdine in the car number 3. Long-time Winston Cup crew chief for Dale Earnhardt, Richard Childress Racing, and a winner already in ARCA last year. They are battling side by side for 8th spot.
And that's Mark Stahl right behind Cicchetti in the 32 car. Mark Stahl out of Savannah, Georgia. Autobell Auto Wash car.
You know, I think Mark Stahl's had that sponsor about as long as Richard Petty's had STP.
Yeah, he really
told me 17 consecutive years they have been on board with him, so that's a pretty good time to be with one driver. Now, I think Ray Dunlap has caught up with Danny Partis in the garage area, right?
Yeah, I absolutely have, Jerry. And Danny, you're smiling. That's the good news, but you tore up an awfully good race car.
Yeah, we did, Ray. I tell you, it was a shame that Chevrolet Monte Carlo, Colwell Banker, Major League Realty, Jim and Judy Motorsports, Whiskey Pete's, Darrell Longman, Chevrolet Monte Carlo was really getting her done today. I tell you, it was a great drafting race car. Me and Mark could run just about anywhere on the racetrack, and you know, I was lifting in the corner. I know Mark was lifting in the corner. We were just kind of waiting for things to sort out there a little bit until we got a good run on them down the back chute and then get on by and then dance for a while by ourselves. But we just got into 3, and it looked like Mark was wiggling a little bit. Then we come off at 4, and it just turned around instantly on him. You know, I had nowhere to go. I chose to the outside because it looked like he was going down. He tried to save him, correct to the right a little bit, and then we just got into each other. All I saw was his car go over the top of mine. You know, I'm really happy. You know, nobody got hurt. I want to thank Jim and Judy Gardner. Judy, if you're watching, get well soon. You know, Judy's not doing well right now, and we're all praying for you, honey. And we would have won that race here for you today if that wouldn't have happened, but that's okay. We're going to be back, and we're going to try and perform for everybody and hope we have a good Speed Weeks here.
Well, we hope you do, and as you step out here, Mark Gibson's going to step in. Hey, Mark, come on over here real quick. We want to talk to you here. I know that was an awful tough break on your good car there, but looked like you just got a little loose. Do you know what happened yet?
I don't really know. Just, I don't know. Hit a bump, something. I don't really know. It's just so disappointing. The car's been perfect all week, and, you know, I just sitting there waiting, trying not to be aggressive and just waiting to my chance. And just should have went to the front. I felt like I had the best car, and I made a couple runs, and Bobby blocked me on the backstretch a couple times. And so I said, well, I'll just wait, and when I get my chance, I'll go, and just didn't come, you know. I just hate it for Janet King. They're behind me, and Kerry, Sheriff, Briggs, Cunningham, and all the sponsors, you know, that we really thought this was our race, and we're just sitting there riding and taking our time and waiting until somebody made a mistake, and I guess it's not meant. You need to be aggressive.
And right now we've got a crash on the racetrack as Shane Yoder is in trouble.
Shane Yoder, indeed, Ray, has looped it around and come into contact with the outside retaining wall. The Midway Island Ford having its trouble here. The Mark Thompson-owned car. Now you are on with the roof cam with Shane Yoder. We told you it's only his second ever asphalt start. That will bring out the caution flag for the second time today here on lap number 29. You're just 11 laps shy of the halfway point.
Shane Yoder was running in 4th spot, and down in turn 1, there was a big mix-up trying to take the lead. Bobby Gearhart had blocked the move of Matt Hutter, and we see Yoder's car is still rolling. But right behind these cars there, we see Yoder down on the apron of the racetrack, and back across the racetrack. He's going to make contact with the outside retaining wall with both the front and the rear. But the damage really was done when he goes down and hits the apron right there. Just knocks the front end off the car and renders it uncompetitive.
All right, his roof camera. We'll watch riding along with him and see exactly what happened, Kyle.
Yeah, before that other replay, it got loose getting in the corner. I don't know if he got tapped or had a tire go down, but it got loose on the initial turn in. You could see it start. He come down across the flat, and like Benny said, backed it in, and then when you come down off that bank, it kills everything.
All right, let's check in down with Bill Weber.
With Bob Bessinger as crew chief, Shane, say anything to you?
Yeah, I talked to him. He's okay. He's coming in. His pride's a little hurt. Said he got in there and it got loose on him, and he just couldn't hold on to it. But the Midway Island Ford was running good. I think we went to school a long way today. He learned a hard lesson, so we'll see what happens in the future.
It's his second asphalt race. This is a tough place for that.
Yes, it is. It takes a lot of experience to get around this place. I think we were in real good shape. Just a tough break. We'll keep our chin up and keep going.
And they will keep working. And just a side note on this 66 car, until this year, Mark Thompson was owner-driver of this car. He was hurt in a race in Atlanta last year, came back and made one final super speedway race at Talladega last year, decided before that race he was going to retire from driving and just be the car owner. He wanted a young gun to put in his car. He went and got Shane Yoder. Today, Mark Thompson is at the track. It is the first time he's ever been at a racetrack when he has not been driving. It's his first time as owner seeing his car on the track.
All right, and Shane Yoder has certainly impressed a lot of people this week. Even though he will not get a good finish today, he will have a bright future. The pits are open. The leaders now will finally come down pit road here at lap 31, which probably, Bill, will be their only pit stop of the day.
If things go perfectly well for them, you're exactly right, Jerry. Triple pits here, the 5 of Gerhardt, the 83 of Hutter, and the 1 of Shauna Robinson, all on pit road. Hutter getting right side tires. It's also right side tires on the 5 car. Shauna with no tires at this point. Now they're going to go ahead and take a look at that car. The 22 is already away. Remember, he stopped earlier. The 5 is away with right side only right side tires on the 83 car as well. Ray Dunlap.
Well, Bill, down on this end of pit road, Bobby Hamilton Jr. brought the Shoney's in, Chevrolet in. They went with 4 tires on that race car, but no adjustments on the chassis, so Bobby Hamilton's saying things are pretty good.
Okay, on the 1 car, no tires. So Mark Reno electing not to put tires on, Benny.
James Finch never changes tires in this ARCA race. He never changes tires.
And he must know what he's doing because he's the only guy that's won it 3 times.
And he never changes tires.
That's what I was going to say. You got to go by his track record. He wins this thing, so do what he does.
All right, if you're pulling for Shauna, that could be a good omen. We are under caution for the 2nd time today here on lap 31. Back with more in just a moment. Really?
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Certainly a cost-cutting maneuver.
Yeah, like he needs it.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Bobby Hamilton's like me. When Adam run the race at Talladega, they pitted, and they weren't going to change it. I said 4. That's a father's deal. Yeah. See, when he turns, it just goes. Yeah.
Now that is this Bob? Is that you?
This is some Barfield. This is some Barfield's car, right?
Is this a sponsor on Junie's car?
Yeah.
Supposedly.
Okay.
I suppose these guys have gotten just.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Tomorrow, 3 different sessions. Then Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. Okay.
Can I get you to move back just a notch?
I can move wherever you want me to.
Appreciate that. Whoa.
ESPN welcomes you back to continuing coverage of Speed Weeks 99 at Daytona. Tomorrow, a big day of coverage at 11 o'clock on the Deuce. Winston Cup and Busch practice. Then on ESPN at 1 o'clock, we'll have the 2nd round qualifying for the Winston Cup cars. Then back on the Deuce at 3 o'clock for more Winston Cup and Dash Series practice. For more, log on to ESPN.com, part of the Go Network, go.com. And our coverage continues, in fact, through Saturday when we'll have happy hour for you beginning at 11 o'clock on ESPN2. That on Saturday. Back upstairs as the 2nd caution continues to wave over Daytona, Jerry Punch.
Boy, what a beautiful look at this 480-acre facility, 44-acre Lake Lloyd, right in the middle of the infield here at Daytona. The World Center of Racing. Now, we're under caution here for a single-car incident that occurred on lap 29. The car number 66 of Shane Yoder, just in front of the white cars we watched from the Big Daddy's roof cam.
This is Ron Barfield, and we see Yoder when he turns to go in the corner. Like Kyle said, the back end just goes out from under the car. And I think Shane will find out that getting in the corner, if your car is a little bit loose, that's really not a good line to turn in from the middle of the racetrack. Basically, you want to go in the middle and let the car drift up, when you think, Kyle?
Yeah, when the car's loose at Daytona or Talladega, you almost have to diamond the racetrack. Run in the corner straight, let it drift up, and finally it'll run against the bank. It'll take a bite, and it'll come off. He spent a lot of time on dirt, and I guess he thought with it a little bit loose, he could turn on in, and it just doesn't work that way here.
All right, we wondered why possibly Mark Reno, Shauna Robinson's crew chief, didn't change tires. Ray Dunlap, do you know?
Well, I think we can certainly find out, Jerry. A little bit of strategy going on here, Mark. No tire change. What's the deal?
Well, we wanted to do a quick gas and go and get her up to the lead, but we had a miscue on the pit stop and didn't get our 2nd can of gas in. And when we stopped to do that, we cost her quite a few spots. But she's got a good car. Hopefully, we didn't get her in a bad spot where she'll get in a wreck. But she'll get back up there. But we're pretty much done for the race. We're gonna. No more pit stops. We're going to run her to the end.
So that means these tires are good to go, huh?
Yeah, we knew all week long they would go the whole race.
How about that, guys? One pit stop in this race. The tires are good to go. Could be interesting strategy.
All right, he talked about getting her back in traffic. There's our pit stop summary. You see where they came in and where they came out. Gerhardt out in 6th, Hutter in 10th, Shauna Robinson in 9th, Hamilton Jr. Now, the reason they went all the way back to 15th spot is what Kyle Petty mentioned a moment ago. They changed 4 tires, and that's a dad's call, right?
That's a father's call. I made that call with Adam at Talladega, but I'm going to tell you something else that happened. If you go back to the accident with Pardus and with Gibson and those guys, he ran down through the grass. So he's been off the racetrack on that set of tires. He probably needed, just for safety's sake, to come in and change those 4 tires. And that's a great call. Whether you lose 4 or 5 positions, doesn't make any difference. On a safety call like that, that was a good call.
All right, we've got people who've changed no tires and people who've changed 4 tires. Shauna Robinson being one of those who did not change tires. You heard Mark Reno say they wanted to gas and go and get her up front and let her run some laps up front. Let's go down to Bill Weber.
Jerry, 2 tire changes, 4 tire changes, no tire changes, and a 1 tire change on the 83 car. They could not get the right rear tire off. It would not come off the hub. So they bolted that one back on. They have a new right front and the old right rear. But the crew says they're comfortable with that situation, that their tire buildup shows everything should be okay, but they're going to be very cautious here. Green flag comes back out.
All right. Hank Wetzel from ARCA waving the green flag here on lap 34. Restart to begin lap 35. The caution out for 5 laps the second time today.
Now we've got a real mix-up. We got some cars that should be a little bit slower than the cars we saw up front earlier on. Now leading the race, Mark Voigt is the lead of the race. The 00, Ed Kennedy is in 2nd spot. Andy Belmont in 3rd.
Glenn Morgan dropping way back here in this. Restarted actually in 3rd position in the car number 11 as they go. There's Mike Cicchetti going by in the winner's circle car. David Boggs in the car number 4. Fairly trouble for Glenn Morgan and his Texas Marine machine.
Told that both Andy Belmont and Andy Hillenberg will be black flag because they don't have the right window in their car.
That passenger side window is required to be in there for aerodynamic purposes and also for safety purposes. So they bring them back in and put the windows in. There is Andy Belmont's America Online, and there is no window there, Kyle.
Yeah, you can see that NACA duct flopping right here where the air intake is. You can see it moving in and out, and it's clear as a bell. Believe me, I'm riding these things. That right side window's never that clear. I wish it was sometimes.
So they will black flag Andy, bring him back in.
See Bill Baird go by as he comes up right on the back bumper of Bobby Gerhardt. Ed Kennedy was going for the lead. Does this mean now that Mark Boyd is still the leader as we ride with Bill Baird as he looks towards the front? Bill is running in 5th spot last time.
Whoa, a little bit of a mix-up there. Ed Kennedy, the 00, right in front of Mike Cicchetti.
And that's what happens when you get cars up front that aren't quite up to speed and aren't fast enough after these restarts. They're trying to get out of the way as fast as they can, and these guys behind them are being pushed from behind, and they see the cars in front of them getting away, and you run up on people. It's hard to judge the speed when you don't run many super speedway races.
Now, this is Shauna Robinson's roof camera. She is following the veteran Mike Cicchetti up through the field. They are now in 5th and 6th position. They restarted in 8th and 9th spot. So in a lap and a half, they've gained 3 positions.
Shauna's done a really good job so far. They're just keeping the car out of trouble, putting it where it needed to be, not doing anything crazy, and just driving a good, clean race. It's been a while since she's been on a speedway, super speedway, and she's doing really well.
There's John Kinder slow in the apron of the racetrack, a California driver out of Santa Ana. Oh, we got another crash down in turn 1.
Got 2 cars involved, one high and one low.
That's cabin counsel, the white car on the outside.
Whoa, Norm Benning is sliding on the inside, and boy, Kevin Counselor just got down before getting T-boned. So caution waving for the 3rd time today. The lights are flashing down the backstretch. That will slow the field down. The 84 car, Norm Benning, and the 19 car of Tampa, Florida's Kevin Counselor.
I think that was the only 2 cars involved.
Counselor was injured in an accident a year ago. Actually broke his scapula, shoulder blade. Came back in the middle of the year and finished off the season. Painting contractor from Tampa, Florida. Loves to run the ARCA series. See if we can see what may have happened to him.
Look at this big mix-up. And right behind it, it looks like these two cars made contact, Kyle, somehow.
Yeah, somehow they made contact with each other before they ever got to the corner. And they end up, it looked a lot closer from where we were sitting. Now on TV, it doesn't look that close. But they made contact before that and just got into each other, and no place to go after that.
Now the windshield gone, because look at the windshield. The brace is supposed to hold that windshield in, standing straight out.
Yeah, the windshield breaks, but you can see the roof flaps are sticking up too, and that's exactly what they're supposed to do.
That is Norm Benning out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. In the car number 84. Finished the top 10 in the ARCA points a year ago. Well, caution number 3 out. Back with more from Daytona in a moment.
Did you just say Norm Benning finished in the top 10 in ARCA points last year? No way.
I'm telling you.
I believe you. I believe you. I've never known you to be wrong.
He finished 8th.
How about that, huh? Okay. Well, the winner won by 700 points.
Yeah. You could have shoved Kyle off that chair with a feather when I said that.
I swear. I mean, it kills me.
David Boggs finished 9th in ARCA points.
What was the spread from first to 8th?
First and second was
about a week.
I know, that's what I said. It was, from first to second was 700. That was huge.
It's about a week and a half.
Is that counselor on the bottom down there coming in?
Yeah. Herman Bean. Did you see this? Herman Bean was black flagged from the Daytona 500 in 1960. I was watching this. I think this is the question. No, from the qualifier. For what reason?
Under our third caution of this FirstPlus Financial ARCA 200 here at Daytona, two-car accident involving Norm Benning and Kevin Counselor. ESPN presents the 1999 ESPY Awards, the greatest night in sports, hosted by Samuel L. Jackson, with many categories, including Driver of the Year nominees, Jeff Gordon, Mark Martin, and Alex Zanardi. Also, you'll see a performance by Big Bad Voodoo Daddy. The ESPN ESPY Awards, Monday, February 15th at 7:30 Eastern Time, only on ESPN. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Now part of the Go Network, Go.com. Let's go to Ray Dunlap for a report from pit road.
Well, Bob, down here in Andy Belmont's pit has been very, very active. We saw that the right side window was out of the race car, so they told a couple crew members, hurry, run back to the car and bring us an extra window. Well, they brought back this window, and this is the window that goes between the B and the C pillar, not the A and the B pillar. They finally did get the right one. I came over and I told him, I said, look, if you don't have the right one, why don't you go see Shane Doles? I'm sure he has plenty of extra right side windows.
Alluding to the fact that Shane Doles a couple of years ago lost the right side window early in the race and had to borrow one. There's a look at the right side window that's missing. A before B before C. The A pillar is the one just to the right there, right to the right of the America Online sign. The B pillar is the one that normally in a four-door car is between the front door and the back door, and the C pillar is between the right side back door and, of course, the quarter panel. There's a C pillar as they rotate that camera around.
That's the B pillar.
B pillar, but the C pillar to the right, angled down. Let's go down to Bill Weber.
Well, the dream of winning at Daytona has become a nightmare for our pole sitter, Matt Hutter. He should be coming down pit road. They believe he has lost the right rear axle, that it is broken. He is spewing oil. He is coming down pit road, and this is very disappointing. Remember, they couldn't get the right rear tire off. He's had long conversations with his crew. So after starting on the pole and having trouble on their pit stop, Matt Hutter will be forced to pit to see if they can examine this problem and get him back out on the racetrack.
Boy, what a tough break for our pole sitter, Matt Hutter. Plan on running the super speedways in this car for Ed Rincey, and hopes to run maybe 5 Busch events for Bill Papke in the J&J Racing Redman Chewing Tobacco Machine and Busch Series competition. There's Ace Kohler and the crew now working on that car, see if they can determine if the right side axle is broken. Now, as a driver, if the axle was broken, what do you feel? The car not wanting to pull, do you feel, does it get real loose?
It pulls different. It depends on whether you got a ratchet or an open, as far as your rear end gear and stuff. And it'll just begin to pull different. And that's probably why, that's exactly the reason the tire wouldn't come off. You know, they may have lost a wheel seal or something and it filled up with oil. Vinny?
I think what's happened is that they have broken the dust cap off the right side and the axle is gone or something.
And that could be. And that happens tons of times. That dust cap on the right side, you see them jamming that screwdriver trying to get the axle back in there. Either it's slid out and wedged in the drive plate. There's no telling what's wrong with this thing. But if it's losing grease out the rear end or out that right rear corner right there, especially in the wheel area, that's a bad sign no matter what you're doing.
Boy, indeed. Ace Kohler and the crew working on the car of Matt Hunter. That was our pole sitter, the Duralube machine. We'll try to find out more what the problem is, diagnosed in their pits, and we'll come back with more Green Flag Racing from the FirstPlus Financial ARCA 200 in Daytona in a moment.
Do you have that track back, in case that's what it is? Do you have that track back that we did with the talking about adjusting the axles with the bolt? I don't ever listen to this.
That's a good point, though, because that happens a lot of times. You get the wrong bolt and the wrong spacer. Slides too far, doesn't slide in enough. Happens a lot more than people let on it happens.
Exactly.
I will tell you that.
That's like when you finish operating and you one instrument shot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I had that one in my coat pocket. Don't worry about that.
That's right. That's it. Look, where is my beeper?
You get a little vibration in your abdomen.
That's right. That's just that.
Good thing it was set on vibrate, not the alarm.
That's right.
Bobby Hamilton Jr. has been back in.
Yeah, he topped off right there. I don't know why, but that's what they did.
Back at Daytona Beach, Florida, the 47th year for the Toledo, Ohio-based Automobile Racing Club of America, the ARCA Series, coming to Daytona for the 36th consecutive time. The FirstPlus Financial ARCA 200. Our AutoZone race recap, the leader being shown as the car number 30. That is Mark Vaught. Laps led 11 of 41. There have been 2 lead changes, 3 cautions for a total of 16 laps. The average speed just over 111 miles per hour because of the lengthy caution flags. There are the leaders, Gerhardt and Hunter. The other 2 drivers who have led off the track, Kevin Counselor and Norm Benning. Tim Horvath in the car number 91 out of race. Yoder, Whittemore, Hillenberg, Kelly, and Gibson. And add to that list, Pardis, Ruckman, Carl Long, and Mike Dillard.
Big advantage for last year's champion Frank Kimmel. Remember, they lost a couple of laps changing drivers and all these cars out of the race, so he's picking up a tremendous amount of points.
Boy, he is, being able to have this much attrition early on as the green flag waves. Once again, we are just past the halfway point. Lap 43, 40 laps was halfway, 80, we'll call it a day.
Andy Belmont on the inside of the America Online car has lost a lap. He heeded the black flag because of the right window being out. We see him up there hustling now, trying to get that lap back.
Bobby Gerhardt in the car number 5 with Mike Cicchetti right behind him. They are in 2nd and 3rd position.
Shauna Robinson back in 4th spot. We see just the nose of the Bob Evans car. Bill Barrett, 52 car, is in 5th.
There's Shauna Robinson's Bob Evans Restaurant Chevrolet. Just in front of Bill Baird. There's Andy Belmont, AOL bumper cam, and then he's hanging pretty tough up there, hoping to be able to stay in position, I guess, to get that lap back.
That's what he's trying to do. And there goes Shana by, so now he's back. There's about 4 cars in front of them. Matt Hunter made a pit stop. Bill Weber, what did they do down there?
Well, Benny, they lost the cap, and they did lose the right rear axle. So they checked. There was some grease in there. They were able to recap it, but there is no right rear axle in there. So basically now I guess it's like running an open gear or an open rear end on that.
Well, really, truly, it's not going to pull the way that it should, Bill. I don't think that it will run very well. Meanwhile, we got a battle for the lead as Gerhardt has some cars teamed up on the inside. Giacchetti's there, and Gerhardt goes for the lead and takes it.
And Kyle Petty, Mark Voigt was a sitting duck up there.
Yeah, he was. He has been since they dropped the pink flag right before that caution. And, you know, once Gerhardt and these guys decided to make a move on him, then everybody was going to go with Gerhardt. Gerhardt had a better qualifying speed than he did, and, you know, these guys just pulled out, and now they're going to freight train him.
As they go by the car number 30 that was the leader, you see Mike Giacchetti, left side of your screen. He's in second spot, coming all the way from 27th starting position. Now there is Ron Barfield going by on the bottom of the racetrack.
You know, the 30 cars leading the race, running with his foot flat on the floorboard. These guys pull by him, and 6 of them go by him, and you say, what do you do, check up? He's still got his foot flat on the floorboard. It's just the way the draft works and the way these people go.
Wow, did you see that Bobby Hamilton Jr. and Jimmy Kitchens almost make contact with the wall? Jimmy Kitchens had to scrub the wall. He was close enough to it. That's the maroon car on the outside there. I don't see smoke in the car, though.
Right behind Shane Doles in the car number 97, coming off of turn 4, is where it happened just a lap ago. Anxious moments for Jimmy Kitchens as well.
You see them coming off the tri-oval. And there we see Kitchens gets turned sideways. He turns it back. Doles runs in the back of him. And there, Bobby Hamilton Jr. might have touched the wall just a little bit. I don't think he would have knocked the sheet metal on the tire, though.
Just a little bit, just trying to anticipate what Kitchens was going to do when Kitchens got tapped.
You got to give him credit, Kyle. He backed out of it and maybe used the brakes a little bit and didn't lose the race car.
Yeah, he didn't lose it at all. You know, and that's Bobby Hamilton's got some experience. Like I said, he's run his father's car. He's run his cars at some of these racetracks. You can see the back of Kitchens' cars if you get a front-on angle where he got hit hard enough in the back, the left rear quarter panel is sticking straight out. So it's got to be catching a lot of air.
Hamilton Jr. going by, taking another spot. I don't think he realized how close he got to the wall. He probably would be slowed down a little bit, but Shane Doles, the 97 car, trying to get on the inside of Voigt.
We told you there were some sons of the guns in this racetrack today. As you watch that gaggle of cars up front, side by side, there's Baird going for second position. Bill Baird, last year's Rookie of the Year. And he will take the second spot away.
And Ron Barfield will go by, take over the third spot. Here comes Hamilton Jr. And is that the 22 car, Mike Swain?
Those are the sons of the guns. Bobby Hamilton Jr., Mike Swain Jr. What about Shauna Robinson in the 1 car? She is there. They're 3 wide down the backstretch, and Bobby Hamilton Jr. takes second spot.
Shauna's just got caught in a box right now behind Giacchetti. They're not going anywhere. The outside line all of a sudden stopped, and she was in a box.
But Bobby Hamilton Jr. is coming like a rocket. That near contact with the wall, he has kept that right foot planted on the accelerator. And the Earl and Czech Sadler car running in second spot, but they are again doubled up back for third, fourth, fifth, and sixth.
I think Bobby's decided he don't want to be back there messing around anymore. He wants to get up there and be out in front of it.
That's exactly what he said. He said, man, this is too dangerous back here in the middle. Listen, let me get up front.
Earhart, your leader. Hamilton Jr. in second spot.
Bill Baird on the inside of Giacchetti. Bill trying to get by, can't quite make it. That's a battle for fifth spot.
Getting a number of cars running on the inside are getting those left side tires on the apron.
And that's going to bite them sooner or later if they go down and touch the apron with that flip. Bill Baird, just a moment ago, I saw him very, very close, and that's going to bite them before it's over if they keep doing it.
And we saw Shane Doles down there in the 97 car a moment ago on the inside of Shauna. He had his left side tires right on the edge of the apron. Side by side for position. The 52 is Baird, the 17 Cicchetti, the 97 is Doles. They are all on the lead lap. That is for position. That's for 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th.
There we see Shauna Robinson, the one car, working her way back to the front. Here they are, 3 abreast down in turn 1.
Oh, Shane Doles.
On the apron of the racetrack. Oh, man.
Wow.
Y'all, they don't handle good down there.
No, that's not a good move. When you go down and you're there and your left side's on the apron and your right side's on the racetrack, most of the time it shoots you straight back across.
Well, up front, it's Bobby Gerhart, the veteran, then the youngster, Bobby Hamilton Jr. Those are the top 2, and these crowds going to be loving this battle. We'll have more of it when we come back. You want me to do it? Let me find the blemish stuff here. Yeah, I mentioned Bob Kelly. No. No. I think he had his own wreck later on. Back at Daytona International Speedway here in Daytona Beach, Florida. These spectacular shots courtesy of the fine folks at Budweiser, the official beer of NASCAR, and the Bud 1 airship. There she is, flying proudly above this racing facility, some 440 acres. What a panoramic view they have from up there of the ARCA action as it's taking place at 187 miles an hour. Bobby Gerhart, our leader, Bobby Hamilton Jr., Ron Barfield, Mike Swain Jr. Veterans and the young guns all in the top 4.
Right along with the leader, Bobby Gerhart. We keep waiting casino car as he looks back at Bobby Hamilton Jr. and several other cars. And he knows if he has one slip and they get alongside, he can go back as far as about 7th or 8th spot.
All right, the front 2 just inches apart, Ray Dunlap. This is going to be one well of a shootout to the finish.
I really think it will, Jerry. You know, I talked to Bobby Gerhart right before the race started, and I said, Bobby, I know you weren't very happy with that car in happy hour. What'd you do? He said, well, not much. We just put on 4 different shocks. We put in a different sway bar, and we changed a couple things around, changed the ignition box. It ought to be okay. Well, it looks like it's pretty good. On the last pit stop, though, Bobby Hamilton Jr. came down pit road, and I thought for sure they changed tires. So I went and checked with his crew chief, and he said, no, we decided to clean the window. Now he can see where he's going. He's going right to the front.
Indeed he is, running in 2nd spot. Only 5 career ARCA starts. He sat on the pole in the ARCA finale last year at Atlanta. I'm talking about the driver of the car number 95, the Shoney's End machine. The Chevrolet Monte Carlo owned by Earl and Czech Sadler. He's getting closer and closer, Kyle, to that 5-car of Gerhardt.
Yeah, he's really good at the end of the straightaways and going in the corner through the center. I don't know if his car's a little bit tied up off, and he begins to lose ground, but Gerhardt gets up off of turn 2 and gets up off of turn 4 a little bit better than Bobby Jr. does. What's amazed me about this ARCA race today is here we are with 20, 25 laps to go. There's still 9 cars running in the lead pack. You know, it's been a long time since I've been to Daytona and seen this many cars in this race who still have a shot to win this race.
And there are still 20 cars, Benny, that are on the lead lap.
Yes, I mean, this has been an excellent ARCA race. Ray Dunlap said the first day we were here that he thought 16, 17 cars had a chance to win. I thought he might have been stretching a little bit. It looks like that was the case.
Great action up front. There are the leaders, single file. One mistake by any one of those, you're going to lose a spot, probably lose about 7 or 8 spots.
Now, Bobby Hamilton Jr., the 95 car, I think his dad is probably telling him, move around on the racetrack, coming off these corners, and see if you can get some kind of run on the 5 car. He's been trying it on the bottom of the racetrack, and as Kyle said, he's not doing it. The car's a little too tight. Something is wrong because he's losing ground right off the corner. And now you can see he's higher than he has been. He's going to move around on the racetrack and try to find a different line and see if that'll work for him.
5-car of Gerhardt, 88 Rookie of the Year, been around a long time at ARCA. And one car that's into the wall, having some trouble. There is the 97 of Shane Doles. Oh, what a tough break for the Riverside Ford machine. Right side damage.
And the caution flag is out once again. You'll see the right front tire is down. I would guess that's what caused the contact with the outside retaining wall.
And the field getting slowed down now as Shane Doles limps down pit road in the car number 97. There's Gerhardt and Bobby Hamilton Jr. And let's go down to you, Bill Weber.
Well, this is very disappointing for Shane Doles and his entire team. He had marched forward after early problems, was threatening the top 5. Now he's obviously shredded the right front tire. They take that off. He's got some sheet metal damage, obviously, from hitting the wall. They put on right side tires. They pull the sheet metal out. Shane sits in the car. Very, very disappointed. They clean the grill. They're going to have to try and bang some of the sheet metal back into place before sending him down. Obviously, he's going to have some suspension damage. That car's not going to handle very well. So, looked like he was headed the right way, going in the right direction, threatening for a strong finish, but now he's been in the wall and he heads back out on the track.
And here is a young man that epitomizes what ARCA is about. He wanted to come to Daytona to race, didn't have the money, went and mortgaged his home, emptied his savings account, got some friends to help him. He got 50 or 60 names on the back of the deck lid that gave him $100 apiece. All that money to come here for one chance at maybe having a career in the super speedway ARCA racing.
Well, that's what the business of auto racing is all about. Once you get bit by the bug, there seems to be no other reason. Oh, the pace car has been crashed.
The 51 car has hit the pace car, and there is the safety car over there on the apron.
That's Joe Cooksey in the 51 car. And
there's the Pontiac Grand Prix safety car, the official car, as they are. And Joe Cooksey has climbed out. There's Buster Auten getting out of the car.
That's good. Buster's moving around. Was Buster driving the car?
I would think so. He normally is the pace car driver.
He's getting out the right side of the car. That's what's... Buster looks like a regular Winston Cup driver getting out, surveying the damage.
Evidently, there was someone riding with Buster.
Joe Cooksey.
Yeah, there's someone else in the car right there.
Well, we're told the pace car was stopped, waiting for the field to catch up there on the racetrack and waiting for the leaders to come around, and that's when the contact occurred with Joe Cooksey. So the safety crews are there immediately. We're working the 4th caution flag today due to an incident involving Shane Doles. We were under caution. There is Buster Auten helping get some of the safety crews working around the pace car. We'll try to find out exactly what happened when we come back. Still under caution here at Daytona for the 4th time today. Back in a moment.
That's bizarre. They're down here in 3. But the pace car picks up at turn 1.
I mean,
that's what killed. I was looking down here for the wreck, and then I see it down when. Yeah, that's. I don't know what that's about. Where was the, what number car was that hit him, the 51?
51, Joe Cooksey.
Where was he at in line in comparison to everybody else? I mean, he's way back. It just says out.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I mean, was he in the middle of the pack and run into him?
He was
at the
4
back
laps down, so.
That was the question. Yeah. So there's no telling where he was at on the racetrack.
Back at Daytona Beach, Florida, there is the new pace car, the new Pontiac Grand Prix pace car on the racetrack, leading the field by. Now, a moment ago, a very bizarre occurrence here at Daytona. The pace car was actually sitting in turn 3, waiting for the field. They had told the leader the pace car would pick up the leader in turn 3. Joe Cooksey, driving the car number 51, a 4-year ARCA veteran, was about 3 or maybe 4 laps down. And there was contact. He apparently maybe was coming off the racetrack. Speculation was he may have been coming off the racetrack to come down pit road and turned down and never saw the pace car sitting there.
Can't imagine.
And if you look at Cooksey's car going here and the pace car sitting right behind it, it's a square dead-on hit right in the back. It doesn't appear to be hitting the quarter panel or anywhere else. It's just it's straight. You know, I think Buster and the regular ARCA driver who drive the pace car extremely lucky to get out and walk away like that.
I mean, that's a race car built with all the supports and struts up front. That car is heavily damaged, so there had to be quite an impact there at speed.
Had to be a ton of impact, believe me, especially if the pace car was sitting there. I think that says a lot for the Pontiac and for the Grand Prix that they used as a pace car, that it took a blow like that from a vehicle that was designed to take a blow, and it still held up good, and those two guys got out of it.
Tell you what, that makes me want to go out and buy one. You can take an impact like that from a race car at probably 70 or 80 miles an hour and climb out and look at it and say, okay, let's take it and get it fixed. I'm sold.
Makes you proud to be a Pontiac driver today.
I mean, there's no replay to see to tell exactly what might have happened because, folks, normally our cameras don't follow the pace car. They follow the race cars that are moving, and that car was parked. I guess Jack Wallace is the person's name that was driving the pace car, the ARCA official.
And once again, Joe Cooksey is okay. He climbed out of his car, and he's not a rookie. He's an ARCA veteran, 4 years in ARCA, and an 8th place finish at Texas last year. Working the 4th caution flag of the day at Daytona. Back with more live ARCA action in a moment.
Yeah.
Bill, they making any headway on fixing that 83 car?
It's back out.
Well, I know he's back out, but he wouldn't run right.
Oh, okay.
And he's been in and out this pit stop.
Oh, I thought I can't see past you or past Kyle, so I just saw him leave a little bit ago. Two things I've never seen hit at a racetrack are the pace car and the blimp. Now I just have one that hadn't been hit.
Pace car come off of Wilkesboro one time. Come off before Wilkesboro. Remember when it crashed up there coming out of turn 4? Were you running in? He started down pit road, and he come off when it was real gravelly. He got in that gravel.
Oh, I
shot
can
straight across
relate what I can remember about pace cars.
That's been a long time.
Oh, yeah, that'd be fine.
Now,
the 83 car. He pulled out and got that far and stopped.
Yep.
It's not good. No.
Back at Daytona International Speedway, where the caution is still out, the fourth caution of the afternoon. Originally, Shane Dole scraped the wall over between turns 3 and 4, and then during the caution, we have had this incredibly unusual incident involving the pace car. As you think back over the years, of course, there was the crash of the pace car at Indianapolis back in the 70s. We remember the pace car being stolen before the race started at Talladega several years ago. I also recall a pace car being crashed after, I think it was a Busch race at Darlington not too long ago. But certainly this one that we have just seen has been very, very unusual and obviously very hard impact. But the good word is that everybody is okay. So the caution remains out. We'd like to remind you that ESPN Classic will continue to bring you fantastic moments from the Super Bowl of auto racing, the Daytona 500. You'll see Earnhardt, Yarborough, Allison, and the King Richard Petty race for the checkered flag from the 79 Daytona 500 to the 1991 Daytona 500. It's a week of heart-thumping pedal-to-the-metal action. It's at 9 o'clock on ESPN Classic. We'll be right back.
Remember when the guy stole the pace car down there?
Oh, yeah. What a show.
Oh, goodness.
I guess Hutter is out. He lost a lap. There's Bobby.
Bobby looking dapper, Bob.
Thank you, thank you.
Rumor is, Bob, the Hoosiers are thinking about fielding a basketball team.
Did they play today?
I don't think so.
Good.
You saw where Kentucky lost last night, right?
Oh, I love it.
To Alabama.
Yes.
They've lost 2 in a row.
Okay.
The Alabama game was Friday night.
I watched some of that.
What do you want?
Just something.
Anything.
Anything, man.
Back at Daytona, where the caution light remains on, we're well past the halfway mark, and we saw some excellent racing before we had the most recent caution. The pole sitter of this race, however, has called it quits. We get that report from right behind me on pit road in Bill Weber.
With Matt Hutter, and it looks like your day is done.
Yeah, Bill, we're done for the day. Awful disappointed for this Durloop crew, but you know, it's the little things that bite you so often, and that's what happened to us today. You know, spin an axle out. What are you gonna do? You know, they say that's racing.
And finally, the ratchet went.
Yeah, actually, the axle just slid past the ratchet, but we're gonna go back out there. It's gonna slide out again. Somebody's gonna get me from behind. We're gonna end up with a destroyed race car that could win Talladega. There's no point in that.
You have a very strong race car here.
Yes, we do. The team did a great job. The car was strong. The car will be strong at Talladega. We're going to be a factor everywhere this year, I think. The team's got some great cars, and, you know, I'm pumped up about going to Atlanta. Just disappointed today.
Okay, we'll see you at Atlanta.
Thanks, Bill.
That's Matt Hutter, one of our young guns, but he finishes early.
Well, we will have that race from Atlanta on ESPN. Of course, we would begin and end the ARCA year on ESPN, worldwide leader in sports, and that young man there at 27 years of age has got a bright future in racing.
Yes, he does.
And there are some of the youngsters enjoying, well, they're just going to relax during the caution flag, but when they go back to green flag racing, he'll be up hollering and screaming and yelling just like Kyle and Benny are up here in the booth.
Turn over, son. The racing's on the other side.
Nice, relaxing afternoon. Beautiful skies Very few clouds here in Daytona. It's been an outstanding week weather-wise here for the first of 2 weeks in Speed Weeks 1999. What a great day here. We had the Bud Shootout qualifier earlier today. Mike Skinner taking the victory there. And how about Mark Martin? What a job the Jack Roush Racing team have done to come from where they were so far back with their plate program a year ago for Martin to win the Bud Shootout. Congratulations to Mark Martin.
All right, green flag is back out. Can anyone handle Bobby Gerhardt? He's had a great deal of this FirstPlus Financial 200.
Just 15 laps remaining here at Daytona. Gerhardt, Hamilton Jr., Barfield, Swain Jr., and Cicchetti. That's the top five.
Kyle, one amazing thing about Bobby Gerhardt's car that really shocked me when he told me this, he builds the engines for his car.
That is pretty incredible. And a day in restrictor plate racing, at a day and time when people spend so much money, for him to build them himself and to go out and run competitive like he has. He did last year and he has this year. It's pretty amazing.
Yes, I was shocked because it's very difficult. And someone is getting the black flag in this bunch. Look like Mark Voigt, maybe. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Well, we've got a jam up behind the leader.
Got a battle up front there for fourth position. Cicchetti trying to move on the inside of the Pontiac of Mike Swayman. Here comes Shauna Robinson down on the inside to make it 3 wide. And Shauna will go by the 17, go by the 22, and take 2 spots away up to third position.
That's a perfect example of how the draft works. Cicchetti and Swain got side by side. It sucked Shauna straight up on him. She turned left, pulls out, goes around him, and picks up 2 positions. They're still running side by side.
And she has a great run right now on Barfield. She can just find some racing room to try to get by.
He is back in 4th spot, right behind Barfield in 3rd with Gerhardt and Hamilton Jr. Now, a moment ago, we saw an incident with the pace car. Joe Cooksey was the driver on the track that had contact with the pace car. Ray, I think you caught up with him. Find out what happened.
Yeah, Doc, everybody that's down here at the medical center is okay. Jack Wallace and Buster Otten in the pace car are fine. This is Joe Cooksey, driver, the number 51. Joe, a very odd situation out there on the racetrack. I don't think we've ever seen anything like this. Tell us what happened from your viewpoint.
Well, I wish I knew for sure, Ray. Under the caution there, following the 08 car around. I don't know what happened there, but they slowed down or stopped real quick in the pace car. I slammed on the brakes and slid down the banking right into him. There was nothing in the world I could do about it.
We saw it was pretty hard contact. How fast were you going at that time?
Whatever the pace car speed is, 70 mile an hour, I guess.
Unbelievable situation, but the good news here is everybody is okay.
Yeah, we have got a real mix-up every place. Right now, Gerhardt's doing some serious blocking, trying to keep these folks behind him, and pretty soon they're going to get cars on the inside, cars on the outside, and someone will challenge for this lead.
Boy, they have a scramble behind this group of the leaders. Take a look at the right side of your screen. They have been going side by side. They were 3 wide, almost coming off turn 2 a minute ago, Kyle.
Yeah, and with 13 laps to go, these guys are going to play havoc, getting caught back up. There was a couple of fast cars. Swain's the fast car in this group, but I'm not sure that he's strong enough to pull this group back to the other group. If he and Shauna were together, they could pull the second group back, but it's going to be tough for them to catch up if they don't hurry up and get in line in the next lap or so.
Yeah, Swain is the lead car in the second group. He is the white car, the Pontiac number 22. Glenn Morgan is the yellow car behind him. There's Kitchens involved in that group.
What will help Swain and them is if these guys get too wide. These guys are running all over the racetrack right now with Gerhardt. He's inside, he's outside, he's trying to block Hamilton Jr. in this crowd. And if he starts doing that a lot, then the second group will catch up a little bit soon.
There's the group we're talking about. Now Morgan and Swain Jr. have pulled away a little bit. They are side by side. That's Jimmy Kitchens in the 87, the 17 Cicchetti.
Meanwhile, this is Bill Baird behind Kurt Schomerdine. But still, Kitchens and the 17 of Cicchetti side by side.
Leaders staying single file up front. Those 4 cars in a 2-car battle, 5th and 6th. Then they are side by side. This is 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th. Cicchetti in the 17, Shelmerdine the 3, Kitchens the 87, 67, 32 is Mark Stahl, and Baird the 52. All right, 10 laps to go. This time by, can Bobby Hamilton Jr. make a run on the veteran Bobby Gerhart?
Gerhart is getting the outside of the racetrack, but Hamilton wants the inside of the racetrack. And Bobby Gerhart is just refusing to give him that inside line.
A veteran and a youngster. Now, if that was your son in the 95 car, Kyle, what are you telling him right now?
He's having to learn all this on his own. You can't stand in the pits and tell him anything because he's the only one that knows what Gerhart's doing. Gerhart's going inside, he's going outside. The one thing Gerhart will do is that he'll develop a pattern. He'll go inside every time, he'll go outside every time, and it's like having a quarterback call the audibles or call a signal on the same cadence every time. As a defensive lineman, you get used to it, you can jump the snap sometimes. He's doing the same thing. Nothing Bobby can do to help Bobby Jr. here. He's going to have to learn it. He's going to have to make a gamble and say, do I want to run second or do I want to win this thing and stuff it on in on the outside one time?
Well, he's got 9 laps or now 8 laps more to figure out Bobby Gerhart's moves before he has to make his move on the final lap. We are 9 laps away from the conclusion of 36 running of the FirstPlus Financial ARCA 200. Let's check in once again with Bill.
Jerry, the race strategy starting to play out. They have told Gerhart to stay low and just go, go, go. Meanwhile, Barfield in the 92 and Shauna Robinson in the 1 are going to try and go together and go to the outside. But Shauna says she can't wait any longer. She needs to go now. She's going to try and catch the leader.
All right, we'll see if Shauna and Barfield try to hook up to get by the 95 car.
Onboard camera, the Bob Evans Restaurant's onboard camera. See, she's trying to go on the outside, but she realizes those cars hooked up in front of her, there's nothing she can do. As a matter of fact, when she pulls out behind the Ron Barfield car, they lost ground on the first 2 cars.
And as you heard from her in-car camera a moment ago, she has that right foot firmly planted on the floorboard. That throttle is wide open. It's not about horsepower now, Kyle. It's more about air and where you are on the racetrack.
Yeah, you can take the horsepower numbers and throw them out the window. These 4 cars are pretty equal right here. They're all running pretty close. They can back off. They can catch back up. And it's just how you catch a draft, who makes a move first, where you make your secondary move, how you react. It's more of a reaction to whatever somebody acts in front of you.
All right, here goes Barfield up high. Shauna's going to try to make a move on the inside off of turn 2. Now, they are side by side for position. Shauna will take the spot away.
And that's where Barfield's experience shows up. He checks up just a little bit because he knows if he loses the draft here, if he loses this contact with these leaders, he's gone. He checks up a little bit. He gets dropped, but he has the potential to come back.
All right, looking back at Bobby Hamilton Jr., he wants that inside line.
He really does want the inside line, and I don't know if there's any way he can pass without the inside line.
No, but I'm going to tell you something. Shauna's car is incredibly fast. So she has caught up in the last lap or so, and she's going to make something happen here because she wants something to happen.
Shauna Robinson, 34-year-old mother of 2, running 3rd at Daytona. Became the first woman ever to win a NASCAR touring pole in 1988. Also the first woman ever to win a NASCAR touring event in 1988. That in the Goodies Dash Series. Would like to become the first woman to win an ARCA 200 at Daytona. And she's watching this battle. That's her roof cam. As Hamilton Jr. now tries to look to the inside, but Gerhart's hugging that bottom group.
Hamilton had a run on him going in turn 3 that time, and just about the point that he could have gone on the inside. Gerhart moved down, blocked that move.
We saw Shauna a minute ago when she was behind those 2 cars pitching from those guys, and they got side by side, and she was able to pick up the draft. And if she can be patient here a couple of laps, that same thing may happen here, and a door may open up for her.
5 laps to go here in Daytona. What a race we've got under clear skies here in Daytona Beach, Florida. Huge crowd on hand to watch the final few laps of the FirstPlus Financial 200.
Bobby Hamilton Jr., Garrett Austin, of what can I do to win this race? What is it I can do? Is there anything I can do? Those are the thoughts that are going through their minds about 1,000 miles an hour right now. Now, here's Shauna's chance. She may have a chance right here to go on the inside of Hamilton.
It may open up, but this will help Gerhardt if it does open up. Because these two are going to have to run side by side.
Unlike Barfield, who backed off a moment ago, there's her crew watching in the pits. The Phoenix Racing, Bob Evans' crew cheering Shauna on. 3 laps to go this time by.
But she didn't clear him. That's the bad news. They're still side by side.
Now in the tri-oval, she hugs the line.
She is driving the wheels off this thing right now. And Gerhardt, by moving around, is not really helping either one of them. He helps one of them for 10 or 15 feet of the racetrack and then helps the other one. So he's doing pretty good. She's going to clear him right here.
All right, she now is taking second spot. She is 2.5 laps away from the checkered flag. Can she get by Bobby Gerhardt?
Got a crash on the start-finish line, right? Kurt Pierce is sitting there.
And this could be it. There's Kurt Pierce's car, number 10. They will run back to the caution flag as waving. Here they come.
Sure they're not going to race back to the line.
They are pointing at ARCA. In the last 10 laps, you do race back to the caution flag. And Gerhardt beat her back to the caution flag with 2 laps to go.
That may be it, but I want to tell you, she drove a great race today.
Wow. Well, there's Kurt Pierce's car, number 10, bringing out the 5th caution flag of the day. He's obviously had some contact with the wall.
There was another car involved as well. I saw another car driving away. Should have left her tires flat on that car. I don't know if that had anything to do with the spin or the crash or not, but boy, that was a scary deal there, those leaders racing back to the line.
All right, let's see if we can see this. Here's the accident in progress. There is Pierce's car, number 10.
I guess that car that just went by Piercy is the car that I thought was pulling away. That was not the case. He was just avoiding Pierce's car.
Well, the white flag waving that time by for Bobby Gerhardt, and Shauna Robinson had a great run going, and those final 2 laps were going to be something. That was, and there is Jeff Clark, who is Shauna's husband. He's an engine builder for Robert Yates Racing and father of their 2 children, and he has to be awfully proud of her, Bill.
Hi, Jeff. How are you?
Pretty good. Pretty darn good.
Yeah, she did a great job.
You couldn't have asked for a better day. I mean, they've had a solid car all weekend, and I think she shows the people here today at Daytona she can still drive.
It's a great question always at Daytona if the caution hadn't come out. But if it hadn't come out, what do you think would have happened?
I think she'd have tested him as hard as he could have raced her back, and she might have come out on top. Just want to hope that way.
How'd you feel watching that race?
You just got to thank the Lord that everybody came home safe today, and look forward to the next race. Hopefully it'll be more.
Congratulations on a great run.
Thanks a lot, Bill.
That's Jeff Clark. Let's go to Ray Dunlap.
Well, Bill, down at this end, I'm talking to Billy Gerhardt, and he just told the crew, don't celebrate till that car comes across and gets the checkers. Billy, I think you just won your first ever race in the ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Series, man. Congratulations.
Well, I'm telling you, incredible. Kuwaitan Casinos, Knight Ritter, Ladia Racewear, Crane Cams, all the people helped us this weekend. Boy, we knew we had a horse when we came here. Car worked awesome. Got beat a little bit on Thursday for the pole. It hurt a little bit. We regrouped. Last practice session yesterday, the car was not there. Had a big meeting last night. Decided to go back to what works, go back to basics with the car, and boy, did it work. I got to tell you, Bobby and I learned how to race a long time ago with my dad. My dad was the best racer. He taught us. This one's for him.
I'll tell you what, to make all those changes and to hang in there and do it, that's an incredible gamble, and you guys did it. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
40-year-old Bobby Gerhardt takes the checkers here in the FirstPlus Financial 200, and there's a very happy crew chief.
Oh, Billy has brought brother, older by 2 years. Bobby Gerhardt has been trying since 1988 when he won the Rookie of the Year honors to win an ARCA. His best finish prior to the day, second at Hagerstown, Pennsylvania, back in 1991 on dirt. He's finished third at Talladega 3 times. And Bobby Gerhardt has waited a long time for this one. And this victory lane celebration is going to be one you want to see. We'll come back and talk to the winner of the FirstPlus Financial 200 in just a moment.
Who is Bill? Weber, don't forget how disappointed Gerhardt was the other day.
Kurt Piercy. Okay. Okay, good. Thank you. Waited a long time, yeah.
He's coming down here that long, you might as well take another lap.
Right.
You don't care. Now they're going to send him to get his spoiler checked.
Back at Daytona, Bobby Gerhardt has become the 28th different driver to win an ARCA competition. This the 36th race. There's the final result unofficially. Gerhardt, Robinson, Hamilton Jr., Swaim Jr., and Glenn Morgan are the top 5. 2 youngsters finishing 3rd and 4th, but the battle for first, Shelna Robinson, was coming.
She certainly was. It was a great battle for first spot. There we see 17 cars will finish on the lead lap, and Kurt Piercy will finish 20th after his last lap crash.
What a great way to begin the 1999 ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde season with this kind of shootout at Daytona, the 36th running of a 200-miler here on the high banks of Daytona. There's the Kuwaitan Casino Chevrolet Monte Carlo. He's been waiting a long, long time to get to his very first victory lane in ARCA, and it happens to come here at the World Center of Racing. 40-year-old Bobby Gerhardt from Lebanon, Pennsylvania. 1988 ARCA Rookie of the Year. He has been so close so many times. 3rd 3 times at Talladega. It's a family affair. You heard him say they build their engines themselves. He drives it. His brother is the crew chief, Billy. His 113th race, but his first win, and he will never forget it. Remember 20 years ago, Kyle Petty won his first here. Remember Benny Parsons won it back in 1969, and today Bobby Gerhart hopes this win will do for him what it did for the likes of Benny Parsons and Kyle Petty and many, many more. And that, my friends, is what Daytona is all about. Let's go down to our McDonald's winner circle. Here's Bill Weber.
Well, as you can imagine, it's very emotional down here. Pandemanium. Bobby Gerhart, your first win comes at Daytona. Congratulations.
Man, it's been a long time coming. A lot of people wrote me off, I think, a while ago. How about that, huh?
And you were so disappointed after you lost the pole here.
Well, just for a moment. In a way, you know, we got a pole last year at Michigan, and it's an awful distraction because, you know, you guys got a job to do, too. I know that, and it's an awful big story, but in a way, I'm glad I wasn't it.
Did you know the girl was coming charging behind you?
I was looking at car numbers.
You knew she was there, though, didn't you?
Believe me, I missed out one qualifying, but I didn't own the racetrack, believe me. I'd like to thank my sponsors, Kuwait Casinos, Night Rider Publications, and this group of guys right here that have been behind me for about 20 years. Man, I don't know what to say. What a day.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Bobby Gerhart gets his first win in a great race for Shauna Robinson, and Ray Dunlap is with her.
That's absolutely right, Bill. One more lap. Could you have done it?
Oh, absolutely, yes, we could have done it. There's no question. This Bob Evans restaurant car was a winning race car. And I'd have to say my lack of experience in the beginning there took me the time to get to the front. I need more laps. I need to run 300-mile races instead of 200-mile races. But, I mean, there's nothing in the world like being in a good race car. And first time I've ever really felt something this strong. And James Finch, he can put power under you. There's no question about it. And, you know, with the help of the Bob Evans restaurants, we were able to run here today. And I hope that I've convinced some people that Shauna Robinson can drive a race car. And if I could just get a sponsor for the rest of the year, I would be driving a race car. But, you know, right now, I feel like I made the most of my moment. And extreme disappointment, but I have to take the excitement along with it. And, you know, I'm happy. I'm in this driving suit, and I'm happy to be at Daytona.
Bill Weber asked Bobby Gerhart if he knew there was a woman that might be about to beat him. He said, I didn't care. It was car number one. They were coming on strong. You really proved that you can do it.
Yeah, I hope, darn, I wanted to beat him, though. And I would have loved it, but there was, you know, he ran good all day, and it was a challenge to be there behind him, and he definitely knows how to hold his line going back and forth, and I learned a few things today, no question about that. But we had the race car to win, and that'd be my only disappointment is we should be in victory lane, but I think I did what I needed to do, and I hope I've earned some respect from the drivers, and I have, you know, I'm a race car driver, that's what I am, and today I just happen to be in one heck of a race car.
Well, congratulations, a great run for Shauna, and also for Bobby Hamilton Jr., who's down here at the gas pump. Now let's go back to Bob Jenkins.
Women of the world, be very, very proud of the job that Shauna Robinson turned in here this afternoon. I recall when we talked to Mark Reno, when she had her bad pit stop, that he said, well, we're not going to win, but we're going to finish up front. Well, she almost won it, had a great run on Gerhart on that last lap. Could she have passed him? Well, we'll never know because of the caution that came out, but all in all, a great day for Shauna Robinson and the rest of the ARCA competitors. Congratulations to Bobby Gerhart. We'll be on the air on the Deuce at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning for Winston Cup and Busch Series practice. Then second round Winston Cup on ESPN at 1. And we'll be back at 3 o'clock for Winston Cup and Dash practice sessions on ESPN 2. Coming up next here on ESPN, Shop Talk with Alan Bestwick. So stick around. We've still got another week of activity to cover for you, right on up to happy hour preceding the Daytona 500 and then the induction of the winning car into USA next Monday. Congratulations to Bobby Gerhart. He has won the FirstPlus Financial 200 at Daytona. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Part of the Go Network, go.com. So long, everyone.
Okie doke. Nice show, everybody. Good hustle. God, we have too many meetings.